Chris Ford was 74. The news is service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges, and a check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk explains the consequences.
You are now seeing several uniparty candidates say, I'm going to go caucus with Democrats. By having a uniparty, it would basically effectively destroy the United States House of Representatives being in the Republican direction.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
You know when you start up a motorcycle and you hear it go vroom, vroom, vroom when it takes off? I was losing that. I was losing my energy, like everybody does as they grow older. And I don't want to be tired. I don't want to look tired, and I don't want to be tired. I started using Balance of Nature about a year and a half ago. Noticed the results immediately, and I went, oh my gosh, this works. This is what I've been missing all my life. I'm loving life actually more than I ever have. I missed my va-va voom. I got it back.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. See why Kathy Lee Gifford and thousands of others have had life-changing success with Balance of Nature. Take advantage of our New Year's offer while you still can. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. That's 1-800-246-8751 and get $25 off plus a free fiber and spice when you use discount code KLG.
The truth is, viruses cannot be killed, and unlike bacteria, viruses are not alive. A virus is what we call a biologic entity, but we can still do something. We can destroy a virus or even keep it from being able to launch its attack on our bodies before, during, and after exposure. And this is why you need to get the kit. Our winter survival kit. Your body can protect you from these infectious bugs, but it needs a little help building up its immune defenses. And the best offense is a great defense. And that's why you need the kit. It's a perfect strategy for every infectious bug, as well as those non-living, can't-kill viruses. Our winter survival kit is a must for your home or workplace. It contains targeted nutritional components that can get the job done before, during, and after any infectious exposure. So get the kit. For details, call our Health Quest radio hotline, 800-794-1855. That's 800-794-1855. It's Health Quest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, this Saturday morning at 11.
5:11 on AM 560, The Answer. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And this update is a service of In Grace with Jim Scudder Jr. Sunday morning at 6:30 on AM 560, The Answer. We will start in northwest Indiana. A jackknife semi on an exit ramp there, northbound on 65 to westbound 8094. It's partially blocking the northbound I-65 exit to westbound 8094. That is a tight squeeze there, so drive with care this morning on I-65 right at 8094. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, road construction bottling up 2 right-hand lanes until next Tuesday. It's on DuSable Lakeshore Drive northbound over top of Montrose. Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Clouds and breezy, passing shower this morning, a rain or snow shower this afternoon. High today 44, a snow shower tonight, otherwise cloudy and windy. Low tonight at 30. Breezy, cloudy day tomorrow, a high at 33. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
36 and rain showers at O'Hare. Worried about basement flooding? It's time to call Permaseal. 800-421-SEAL. Your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. Your business and your money are in good hands with Signature Bank. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Dan Migatz, co-owner and CFO of AM Woodland Outdoor Design in Mundelein, and a new customer of Signature Bank. We specialize in the creative design and construction of outdoor living spaces, providing our residential and commercial customers first-in-class landscaping services. Our company was founded as a one-man operation and today has grown into a multifaceted, one-stop shop for outdoor and indoor design and contracting needs. Signature Bank was there to provide the capital needed to grow our expansion efforts. We wanted to work with a bank that understands our business and is relationship-focused. Signature Bank is what a relationship bank is all about. We're excited to continue our partnership for many years to come.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It seems like everyone is on a complicated diet these days. Gluten-free, keto, metabolic, sugar-free. And with these diets comes special dietary protocol and food products. You can find plenty of advice on your social media sites, but you need expertise to purchase the right food items. A visit to Lil's Dietary Specialty Shop is necessary to shop the best food choices for a medical diet or health plan. Lil's Dietary Specialty Shop stocks all the hard-to-find foods you're looking for, like wheat and dairy alternatives, sugar-free baking mixes, healthy snacks, and more. There's no longer a reason to put off that diet you're supposed to be on when you have Lil's. The staff has personally researched and vetted each item in the store and has plenty of choices in stock.
Lil's Dietary Specialty Shop on 111th Street in Mount Greenwood on the south side of Chicago. Stop in and shop in person or order online at lilsdietary.com and get your items shipped right to your home. lilsdietary.com. Shop, learn, and be healthy. It happens every year. Winter. Delivering and receiving supplies and getting people where they need to go can be impossible. Keeping your business's doors and gates working properly to keep out the extreme weather is a major concern. Your business can't afford a loss of income or productivity. Be ready. Call Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. for your commercial door maintenance and security tune-up now. You can't always plan when your doors break down, and it always seems to come at the least convenient time. Industrial Door Company will ensure your doors, grills, gates, and dock equipment are working to specification and give you advice on how to increase the life of your doors. See a range of products and services at industrialdoor.com. Call 847-258-5620. Their team will be there before the extreme cold weather causes financial losses for your company and assist in your time of need. Since 1982, the Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. takes care of your doors so you can take care of business. Service and installation positions available. Muscular work for thinkers. Apply at industrialdoor.com.
This is Hugh Hewitt for townhall.com. The nation has, once again, maxed out its credit card. I'm referring to the $31.4 trillion limit on gross federal debt. A debt limit crisis is most definitely not a crisis in the sense of a sudden set of extraordinary and dangerous circumstances. It is rather a regularly recurring moment of American political kabuki. When power to raise the debt limit is divided between Democrats and Republicans, getting to an agreement can be tedious. Congressional Republicans will triumph only if they can agree on a few reasonable demands and then make those demands specific, understandable, and public, and repeat those demands again and again and again on every television set and over every radio show and podcast. So, what is the GOP's ask? Spending cuts, cutting appropriations for the 87,000 new IRS staff agents, and a tangible commitment to a border wall are among the candidates, but there is no consensus yet. If they can get to that consensus without cutting defense spending, it would be an early win for the new House majority. I'm Hugh Hewitt.
Hello, I'm Garrett Hawkins, a family farmer raising corn and soybeans in Monroe County, Illinois. It might be hard to believe, but 96% of the farms in Illinois are owned and operated by family farmers just like me. Our job is to grow the healthiest, most affordable food around to feed my family and yours. Meet more farmers just like me at www.watchusgrow.org/corn.
A message from the Illinois Corn Marketing Board.
Hello, I'm Donna Jeske.
And I'm Paul Jeske.
We're family farmers raising corn and soybeans in Grundy County, Illinois.
It might be hard to believe, but 96% of the farms in Illinois are owned and operated by family farmers just like us.
Our job is to grow the healthiest, most affordable food around to feed our family and yours.
Meet more farmers like us at www.watchusgrow.org/corn.
A message from the Illinois Corn Marketing Board.
Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatments for $155 a month cash pay or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near Low T Center or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy. To get started on treatment, only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Unlock Your Wealth with Raj Shah every Saturday morning at 7, right here on AM 560 The Answer.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I'm getting reverb. Take two. Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So yesterday, in back of the yards, that is, excuse me, it happened again.
The investigation also reveals that a father was out there with his two children, one the 21-year-old, the other a 15-year-old, both of whom have special needs, and they were at the bus stop waiting to catch the bus to go to school.
Yes, and a 21-year-old was Jesus Riga, just months away from graduating high school.
Yeah.
And he was shot 3 times, including once in the head. We'll be right back after these messages.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You depend on compressed air equipment to run your business. A failed compressor would bring your production to a screeching halt. You need a local supplier for parts and maintenance items like oil and filters. And when your business is expanding and needs the right compressed air equipment to upgrade, your local go-to source, compressedairadvisors.com, can step in to save the day. Explore thousands of items online at compressedairadvisors.com. Plus, they have a huge local inventory of equipment in stock and ready to go. They're a Chicago Pneumatic Elite distributor and authorized distributor for leading manufacturers like Champion, FS Curtis, PowerX, Hankinson, and more. Their staff know air compressors and are ready to assist you with a custom solution for all your air compressor needs. For a limited time, enter 560 The Answer at checkout when ordering online and receive an additional 10% off. Compressed Air Advisors Online, Incorporated in Lombard. For more info, visit compressedairadvisors.com or call 877-247-2381.
Right now, there's unprecedented demand for pre-owned vehicles. If you're working from home and have an extra vehicle, now is a great time to sell it. Call Joe Cotton Ford for top dollar on any make or model pre-owned vehicle. If you need a commercial vehicle, come in and we'll get your vehicle ordered for you. Our commercial team is ready when you are. Also, our commercial service center can handle trucks up to 52,000 pounds. Come see why we're Chicagoland's best Ford buying experience. For 48 years, we've been delivering the perfect vehicle for your taste, needs, and budget. Joe Cotton Ford has the no-stress, easy buying experience. The Daily Herald top pick 9 years in a row for sales and service. Family owned and operated for 3 generations. From our family to yours, you have our word on it. That's Joe Cotton Ford, Gary and North Avenue in Carroll Stream, or at joecottonford.com. joecottonford.com.
Top pick is voted by Daily Herald readers.
The Answer.
Coming up next, it's me, Mike Gallagher, right after Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. As we started saying, Chicago police are looking for 2 suspects after 21-year-old Jesus Riga, who is a nonverbal special needs individual, unique abilities individual, just months away from graduating high school, was shot in an apparent misidentification by gangbangers of non-gangbangers, shot 3 times, including once in the head in the back of the yards. And this is after alleged gangbangers yelled across the street to Dad and his 2 sons saying, "Are you gang members?" or something to that effect. He calls 911. They open fire. He tries to get down and cover his sons. And unfortunately, his 21-year-old son, Jesus, who is, as last reported last night, undergoing surgery, was shot 3 times, including once in the head.
And this morning, doctors are saying he may lose his vision. So he's nonverbal, special needs, with his little brother, who's 15 years old, who also has special needs, because when you have special needs, you could stay in high school until you're, at the latest, 22. And the dad was taking them to school, and here he is. Here's the father.
Down, but he didn't understand at the time. And I tried to get to him as fast as I could. As soon as they stopped shooting, I ran to him and started holding the wound.
So he put his one son, he covered his body with, that's what it was at the beginning that we missed. He covered his 15-year-old's body, and he was trying to cover his other son, but he couldn't get him to him fast enough. And he went through surgery last night, and it's just disgusting. Like, when is enough? I mean, it's a trio went up to them and shot at them. And since he was nonverbal, he couldn't respond because he's not a gang member. He's not a gangbanger. And 39 shots were fired, Dan, on the shot spotter. That's how many rounds were going. It's war over there, and Alderman Lopez is there.
We cannot protect or give cover to these individuals who did this, because this young man deserves better.
And he was saying
that's profound.
No, he's saying that people know who these 3 are, and that they should turn them in.
Yeah,
but
that's profound too.
Well, when is enough? I mean, when's enough? Have you seen his picture too? It's just heartbreaking. I don't know if I lived in that neighborhood, but some people can't afford to move out.
Oh, like it's so much better in Lakeview?
I know, it's the same thing. I know. It's the whole town, the whole city is trash.
It's a great city. It's too bad. It's a great city. That's all I hear. It's a great city. It's a great city because of the architecture.
Because of the bean.
It's a great city because of the restaurants and artistic offerings. I mean, in part, that's what makes a lovely city. And, yeah, the arts and entertainment and cultural offerings, sure. What about the sort of foundational institutions when it comes to civilization? Is Chicago a great city? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Because I don't want to get in trouble like Darren Bailey did when he called Chicago a hellhole. I don't want to get in trouble because I don't want to be chastised by my betters and saying, how dare you? How dare you, sir? How dare you call Chicago a hellhole? It's a great city with great people. Is it?
I know, people are so offended by that. I'm like, well, it is. When was the last time anybody even saw anybody pull somebody over for a traffic stop? There's no officers anywhere.
Well,
there are some. Well, come on. I mean, I live here. I don't see. I used to get. I would be happy if I got pulled over by a cop because I was on my cell phone.
I wouldn't be happy if you got pulled over by a cop because you're on your cell phone, because that's a waste of their time.
Yeah. Well, that's probably why they don't do it. Everyone's on their cell phone anyway. But I'm just saying, there's the police presence is not what it used to be.
Yeah,
because there's 2,000 plus less cops on the street.
Yeah, well, that's part of it. Got a mayor's primary coming up in 6 weeks, February 28th. Who do you like? Does it matter? Do you care? Are you just counting days until you're sprung? Some people clearly are not, and I don't know. More than half the city thinks the state and the country are on the right track, so there's a lot of people apparently enjoying it. I mean, until something terrible happens to somebody they care about. But as long as something terrible doesn't happen to something they care about, they're happy to blithely saunter about in the city. So this is why I say my first choice right now for mayor would be Willie Wilson. But if he doesn't make the runoff, then I'm definitely supporting Lori Lightfoot.
Why?
I definitely want Lori Lightfoot.
No, you want...
If Willie Wilson is not viable, then I want Lori Lightfoot because I want maximum punishment. Just like Kim Foxx. Absolutely. More Kim Foxx. I hope she runs for a third term in 26 and wins more. Because I want to eliminate any conversation about hope because the name on a door has changed when the policies won't, which has been the affliction of Chicago and Illinois for a few generations at least now. Just eliminate hope. Just embrace Lightfoot. 4 more years of these last 4 years. That's what my proposal would be, short of perhaps Willie Wilson. That's where I'm at. And then, frankly, it's tough. It's tough to make that call. I'm leaning in the direction of maximum punishment, elimination of hope, because it's just not bad enough. And there's just not enough people saying, you're not going to do this to me. And I don't know how to get the city there any other way. Do you? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line. If punishment works to deter crime, then punishment would ostensibly work to deter criminal political choices, wouldn't it? You'd think, at some point, even for the habitual political choice offender. I don't know where you go other than doing this sort of performative hand-wringing and expressions of outrage mixed with despondency about the murder or barbaric act du jour. Maximum punishment. Maximum punishment. That's what's needed, isn't it? Take your calls at 538.
But now let's head straight into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Out in a matter.
Rain and fog, 36 degrees at 5:30 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. President Biden will be in California today, touring damage left by the powerful storms that flooded parts of that state. The president will visit with first responders and other local officials on the central coast of California. Considering the amount of federal support needed for relief efforts there, last weekend he approved a major disaster declaration for multiple California counties. The U.S. is expected to reach its $31 trillion debt limit today.
With U.S. borrowing authority likely to max out in a matter of months, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says Congress must raise the debt limit without drama or delay.
It is essential for Congress to recognize that dealing with the debt ceiling is their constitutional responsibility. This is an easy one. This is something that should be happening without conditions.
House Republicans are demanding linking a debt limit increase to new caps on spending. The debt limit was reached today, but Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says the department is taking what's called extraordinary measures to prevent a default until early June. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
A suspected robber is wounded after being shot by an off-duty Chicago police officer on the south side. Police say the officer interrupted an apparent robbery yesterday in front of an apartment building in the 1300 block of West 90th. Chicago Teachers Union is accusing Mayor Lightfoot of reneging on a pledge to extend paid parental leave up to 12 weeks for teachers and school support staff. Members of the CTU are demanding that teachers be granted the same parental leave now offered to other city employees. A number of Cook County homeowners will be receiving automatic refunds soon. The county treasurer's office says more than 53,000 property owners who overpaid their first installment taxes last year will automatically get back more than $47 million in refunds starting this week. Residents can visit the county treasurer's website to see if they are due a refund. Federal safety investigators citing 3 Amazon warehouses for putting workers at serious risk of injury from the bending, twisting, and lifting required to rapidly move and stack packages for hours. OSHA announced the citations Wednesday at warehouses in Florida, New York, and here in Illinois. The Bulls are up against the Pistons as the NBA returns to the City of Light, Paris, for the first time in 3 years today. Blackhawks will try and stay hot when they visit the Flyers. Number 23 Fighting Illini go for their 5th win in a row, hosting Indiana in the Big Ten. Last night, DePaul upset number 8 Xavier 73-72, and Loyola lost to St. Louis University. The news, a service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges. Join today. 560theanswer.com/join. 534. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson here. And if you're a small business owner or make the marketing or advertising decisions for your business, then listen up.
Our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway, and this year we're helping to raise money for children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean who are desperate for access to food.
Millions of people, including many children, are suffering because of food insecurity. They simply don't know where they will find their next meal.
Here's how your business can be part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor, and AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air right here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you.
And through the generosity of your business, you'll be helping to feed more than 70 children for a year.
To take advantage of this deal, just call Anjanette Natkowski at 847-472-8951 or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
2022 was anything but uneventful. The start of the new year reminds us all about the things we meant to do, but just never got around to do. And financially, there may be some really important things you've overlooked. Did you make any changes with your savings during the market volatility? Or did you just sit around hoping things would somehow work out? The moves you make right now could affect your retirement income for many years to come. So talk to Tom Fortino and the team at Alpha Wealth Group about getting 2023 off to a good start with a complimentary portfolio review. If you've saved $250,000 or more for retirement, call 630-934-1855. That's 630-934-1855, or go online to alphawealthgroup.com, alphawealthgroup.com.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
You don't need special gadgets to be a hero. With unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere, the Capital One Quicksilver Card makes you the hero of every purchase. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
536. Let's get an update on the roads. We do that, of course, in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, and this update is a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Sean Thompson Show. Hear both shows when you subscribe free to the daily podcast at 560theanswer.com/podcast. Starting on the Edens Expressway this morning, 15 minutes in from Lake Cook Road into the junction. Kennedy inbound at 18, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Stevenson outbound. Report of an accident at Cicero, 16 minutes out to the Tri-State, 22 out to 355. I-65 Northwest Indiana. It's on northbound 65, right out at the ramp to westbound 8094, where you will find this morning a jackknife semi. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Cloudy, breezy. Shower this morning. High 44. Rain changing to snow through the afternoon and into the early evening, and a low of 30. Cloudy, breezy, and much colder tomorrow. High 33. Rain and 36 right now. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. America First with Sebastian Gorka, today at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We're talking about, this yet another instance, the latest act of unadulterated depravity in the city of Chicago, this shooting of a 21-year-old nonverbal, unique abilities young man who was set to graduate high school in Backyards neighborhood yesterday when he, his brother, his father were misidentified as gangbangers by other gangbangers, apparently. That's according to Chicago police, and he's fighting for his life as we speak.
Yeah, he was shot in the head, and they're saying if he does survive, he will lose his vision, which is horrible because he can't speak, and now he's not going to be able to see.
So the question, this is against the backdrop of a mayor's race on February 28th, or at least that's the election to decide which two candidates will make the runoff that goes to April 4th, and basically, where are you at? Are you in my camp where you're inclined to support Lightfoot's reelection because maximum punishment is what is needed? It has to get much worse before there is receptivity to any system change in Chicago. Or do you want to hold out hope and try to go for the least worst candidate like Amy is doing in supporting Paul Vallis?
Yeah, you don't think that there'll be a change? There'll be a cultural change when Paul Vallis wins. He is going to fight crime. He is going to hire more police officers. He's going to get the police officers' backs. He's going to change the school system. He's going to do school choice and then eventually get to taxes. But crime is the number one issue. And yesterday was a graphic reminder of how sick and scary it is to live in this city. I mean, he and his little brother has special needs too.
Yeah.
And they were going to school at 6:30 in the morning. When did gangbangers start shooting people at 6:30 in the morning?
Busy days.
Busy days. They got to get up early now, right, Dan, to get it all in. And they were flashing signs at him, and he's got special needs. And they're asking him if he was in a gang, and he didn't know what they were talking about. And his dad said that, too. And he tried to cover his son. He had to choose one son over the other to throw his body over. I mean, it doesn't end.
Well, the good news is you got a ban on some scary-looking rifles that's taking effect for now, and you got the prospect of the Safety Act coming online. That's pending a Supreme Court adjudication of that matter, expected probably in March. Oh, by the way, if you think those things are irrelevant to harmful, you're right. And again, just to sort of give some comparison to what's happening when you pursue the paths that we're pursuing, since we've got some of our friends in New York and California pursuing these same paths. And when it comes to prosecutors' offices in Philadelphia and Baltimore and L.A., San Francisco, a lot of places. Out of New York, justice reforms, in quotation mark, forcing prosecutors to toss out 69% of New York City criminal cases, according to a new study. The new evidence law. But, yeah, that's what we need after we get done with pretrial detention reform, quote unquote, because that's how it's pitched. We'll get into discovery reform like New York City has. And boy, oh boy, the rate at which cases were dismissed city-wise rose from 49% in 2019 to 69% by mid-October of 2021. This according to a Manhattan Institute report. For misdemeanor cases, the increase was even more dramatic, jumping from 49% dismissal of cases to 82% during the same period. You wonder why police keep running into the same people on the streets. Yeah. The statute has correlated with a devastating rise in crime and a drop in arrest, according to the author of the study, Hannah Myers, who also is a former New York City Police Department analyst. Adult felony arrests fell by 14%. NYC shootings rose by 102% and murders by 51%. That's one of those Fox Butterfield moments where the predicate helps you understand the objective part of the sentence. Right. Felony arrests are down, shootings and murders are way up. One is connected to the other.
Yeah.
As we talked about with John Lott yesterday, right? The violence is concentrated in a relatively small amount of counties. If you look at the situation countrywide, However, those small amount of counties count tens of millions of residents among them. And, of course, overwhelmingly law-abiding. And that's just a victim pool for a small criminal class, habitual criminal class, that is being treated as misguided youths by the political establishment in those big urban centers that represent the small amount of counties where a disproportionate amount of the crime occurs. So you can maybe understand why some suburbanites or ex-urbanites don't get it yet. But as I said, and we've said throughout the last year of litigating the Pritzker Purge Law and the policy choices both in Chicago and around the country, you set up the same approach to law and order in the suburbs or the exurbs or even rural areas that is set up in Cook County, places like Cook County, then you will start to see the same results. Maybe not on scale, but on a per capita basis, you will start to see the same results. There is no difference really between human beings in Chicago and human beings in the western suburbs or in central or southern Illinois when it comes to those who have no moral compunction about preying on others. And they will respond to the incentives that Johnny Law presents him.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment. I mean, from this shooting, I don't know how it could get any worse. 39 rounds were fired. 3 shot Jesus. one shot him in the head. One landed on his head. I mean, it's a war zone.
Yes, and again, we do this every time there is a particularly egregious, violent crime, and there's a lot of tears and a lot of outrage and a lot of the same calls that have been made for literally decades, and then 48 hours from now, it's gone. That person's life is forever changed. Their family's lives are forever changed, but it's gone from our consciousness because, and this is not moralizing because we got to move on.
Well, early voting starts a week from today, folks. Please do not reward bad behavior. Mayor Lightfoot is in way overhead. She does not have the police officers' backs. She never has. And she's let this city go to hell in a handbag. We are becoming Detroit. There's homeless camps everywhere. There's tents everywhere. Who even cares about that now? But even Michigan Avenue's boarded up.
Yeah, but it's a great city.
No, it's not. And I think you shouldn't vote for Wilson. I think you should vote for Paul Vallis.
I can't vote for anybody.
That's right.
And that's fine. But just a recent poll, just in case you think that Lori Lightfoot isn't in the mix here, a recent poll had, and again, I don't place too much stock. It's still very early, even though it's 6 weeks away. Chewy, this was reported in Cranes, the anti-business business magazine for Chicago. Of course it is, because it's a great city. Chewy Garcia, 29, Lori Lightfoot, 21.
Oh, God.
Vallis, Wilson. So, it's a mix, those 4 candidates. And then Brandon Johnson is sort of a dark horse because of the teachers union money he's got. This is a communist that the teachers union put up as their candidate.
Right. Teachers union people vote. Sorry.
He got $400,000 from them, and so he may have the money to stage a late rally if he can generate some awareness. And it would take a lot, not just the teachers union apparatchiks, but also, given the race identity politics of the city, which I hate, and the Democrat, socialist, identitarian voters love. Given that those racial politics, Brandon Johnson would need to figure out a way to peel off a fragmented black vote because of the number of black candidates in the race. That's not really where Lori Lightfoot's base is, though. So it's not like he has to peel away from her, which actually makes it more difficult. He's got to peel away from some of the other candidates, the Willie Wilsons and the Roderick Sawyers of the world, the Cam Buckners, and that's a little bit more difficult. Lori Lightfoot's bread is buttered, as people should know. Probably outsiders don't appreciate this because they just see, she's a black female, so she must be wildly popular in the black community. Not really. She'll get a percentage of the black vote, but her base is the Mercedes Marxists on the lakefront and the gays. the LGBTQ because of identity politics, which, again, I hate, and I'm the bad guy. They love, and they're the uniters. Okay, sure, right. Okay, fine, I got it. So, as I said, maximum punishment. Kevin, Southside.
Hey, good morning. On your comment that Chicago is a hellhole and Amy's that there aren't any cops. Okay, when I was a young patrolman back in '92, we were very aggressive. I worked on the south side. It was stop and frisk.
Yeah.
A lot less people were carrying guns. So a lot less cops, Amy, you're right. And there's no more stop and frisk. The election's 6 weeks out. Lightfoot's on TV with a reporter asking her, why don't you let the police be the police? And she said, behind the podium, not on my watch. To stop and frisk somebody now and do a street stop, we called it back then. You got to stop what you're doing, do your street stop, fill out a full sheet of paper, justify your cause 8 ways to Sunday, or your bosses are on you. And the Lightfoot does not have the police's back, and neither do the higher-ups. Yeah. That's my comment after 30 years on a police department. You guys have a great day.
Thanks for the call.
During her time in office, she has made police the enemy.
This was going on pre-Lightfoot under Tiny Dancer, though, too. The vast reduction in stops after they started moving in the direction per pressure from Black Lives Matter Marxists and all the varietals of Marxists in the city to end the practice of stop and frisk and to burden street cops, like Kevin was saying, with paperwork that made it too burdensome and bothersome to even spend the time. You saw, I think it was Tiny Dancer's last year, if I'm remembering correctly, that year over year, police stops, vehicle stops, went down 90%. So that was the beginning of ushering in this new era of lawlessness, which, of course, Lightfoot has accelerated. Cream Puff Jim in Chicago, and that's how he is on the screen, so I'm not casting aspersions.
No. Anyway, good morning. There's a saying in my family, anytime you leave Chicago, you're camping out. All my ancestors that are buried around Chicago all made a terrific living in Chicago. And any time I was in any trouble anywhere around the world, I'd head back to Chicago. If I had to hitchhike, I'd head back to Chicago. Anyway, you guys have a good morning. Thank you.
All right, thanks for the call. Cream Puff Jim.
Is that a street name, I wonder?
Yeah. Greg, Jefferson Park.
Hey, good morning, guys. I'm with you, Dan. If, I'm going for Willie, and if things don't work out, then either Lightfoot or the other communist. Well, actually, there's a few communists, but, the chew toy wouldn't be a good thing. Hey, you know what?
But see, here's the thing, Greg. If it was Lightfoot and Chewy, then you have to go with Lightfoot.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
Because if Chewy wins, then they're gonna be like, oh, it's a new day. Look, there's a new face, so it's we're gonna chart a different course, and we're not. So don't even give them the opportunity to spin that yarn. Just go. It's not a new day. We're not going in a different direction. We're going 100 miles an hour in the same one, which is vertical.
The other thing I wanted to say, Dan, was the no more gun things is working. 2 Sundays ago here in Jefferson Park, we had on Sunday afternoon, 2:00 in the afternoon, two women got robbed and stabbed. So no more guns is working. We're starting to stab people now, but that's okay, right? Because it's working.
Well, people use other.
Thanks for the call.
Knives, cars. They use whatever they can to kill people. Fists.
Well, you respect somebody who makes it personal. Takes the time to make it personal. That sort of crime. I'm sure that this is somebody who was, had some struggles. Probably a victim of systemic racism, perhaps the patriarchy. Showed a lot of promise in grade school, was on the honor roll a time or two. I suspect, I don't know, I'm just thinking what the profile is. And just needs a little bit of mentorship, alternative sentencing program, and some job training, and he's going to turn his life around. Stop stabbing people. Right? Isn't that the story? That's what we're told, isn't it? Yeah. And you know what the problem is? Rich honkies like me aren't paying our fair share. So if we could get the rich honkies like me, pay our fair share, then you fund these programs so that the people out there stabbing women for their purses and so forth, or, I don't know, shooting a special needs kid in the head, they get the opportunities they need and the training and so on and so forth. And they'll be captains of industry. Just you watch. Those are the fairy tales we like to tell in Chicago. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I'm in the medical field, and I think when you start out these things, everything from the advertisement sounds so good that you're psyched up for it to work. It's working. Anyway, I'm happy.
Balance of Nature has made a big difference. It's just one of the greatest products, and it's just so simple, and it works.
Balance of Nature is a fantastic product. You could tell it's real. You could taste it. And it gives you really good energy, and it's just right up there with rent, electric cable, like things that you have to have. I'm not cutting Balance of Nature. No, I love it.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature right now. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com for more information or to place your order. Shipping is always free. And don't forget to get 35% off your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code Chicago.
All right, no one can predict what's on the horizon for 2023. Shaky economy, global unrest, rising inflation. Who knows what's next? There is one thing you can count on, and that's the peace of mind Turnkey Solutions offer your business. So protect and prepare your company for 2023 with Turnkey's all-in IT support package. It's Turnkey's best and most popular plan for small businesses. It's also all-inclusive and priced to save you thousands. Listen up. For a limited time, Turnkey will pay for your first month of all-in support. That's the first month at no cost, and it's worth $3,000, folks. How's that to help fight increased prices? All In is a no-worries program. It includes all new hardware, advanced firewall protection, 24/7 U.S.-based support, and backup of all your devices on the cloud. The team at Turnkey are small business champions who share your same values. Focus on your business and leave the technical stuff to the pros with Turnkey. Start a conversation today by visiting turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Apparently there's Celebrity Jeopardy going on right now. A lighter note, getting away from Chicago's endemic violence. Celebrity Jeopardy. This is always painful, but perhaps nothing more painful than what happened with this clue. The participants, celebrity in quotation marks.
Who are these alleged celebrities? Sorry.
Candace Parker, the great female basketball player. Tori DeVito, who's an actress, I guess.
I don't know
Never
who that
heard
is.
of her. Yeah. And Patton Oswalt, who's a stand-up comedian. Here's the clue and the answers.
The 50 states for 300, please. In Field of Dreams, a question is asked. Is this heaven? No. It's this Midwestern state, also known as the Corn State.
So easy.
Tori. What is Wisconsin? No. Candace. What is Nebraska?
Oh, my God. Her dad went to University of Iowa.
What is Iowa? Iowa.
At least Patton Oswalt was smart enough to stay silent.
So embarrassing.
It reminds me of, that's now my favorite episode of Celebrity Jeopardy.
Oh, okay.
My second favorite, and it's so great celebrities do this because they think they're smart and then they go on to just demonstrate how not true that is. But that's my favorite. And my second favorite was the one with, Burt Reynolds, Sean Connery.
Animal sounds, condiments, and finally, your ass or a hole in the ground.
Yeah, well, why don't you give me ape tit for 200?
It's not ape tit.
PJ Jerome.
It's a petite, never mind. Let's just go to animal sounds for 600. This is the sound a doggy makes. Mr. Connery.
Moo.
No.
Well, that's the sound your mother made last night.
Okay, that's not necessary. Burt Reynolds.
Who is Scooby-Doo?
No.
That was a funny dog, Scooby-Doo. He drove around a van and solved mysteries.
That is incorrect.
No, that's correct. I remember you had a pal, Scrappy-Doo.
No.
I so miss Norm Macdonald. All right, coming up at 6:06, KJP goes into full four-corner stall with the D.C. press corps.
Today, cloudy and showers, then rain and snow showers later. It's now 6 a.m. WIND, Chicago.
We're up to the ceiling in debt. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The U.S. reached the debt limit today. We cannot borrow any more money, but the Treasury Department says it can fund government payments until June.
We're not going to default on the debt. We can prioritize debt. In fact, current law allows for the prioritization of paying your debt payments. We're not going to default.
But Congressman Chip Roy tells Fox Business House Republicans will demand spending cuts in talks to raise the debt limit. Democratic Senator Joe Manchin says something has to be done.
$31.4 trillion of public debt right now. And all we're saying is, should we not make sure that we all recognize how we got there, how we prevent from going further?
President Biden wants the limit increased with no strings attached. Republican Congressman Greg Steube is in a Sarasota, Florida hospital after reports he fell off the roof of his home. A state Republican Party official tweeted last night, despite suffering several injuries, Steube's doing well. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is in Germany ahead of another $3 billion military aid package expected to be unveiled to help Ukraine fend off Russia's invasion. As the UN's atomic watchdog continues to worry about the war leading to a nuclear accident.
There are going to be teams of experts placed at each of Ukraine's 4 nuclear power plants. The International Atomic Energy Agency already has a presence at the largest, Zaporizhia. It'll expand that strategy to others, including Chernobyl, the now closed site of the world's worst nuclear disaster in 1986.
Fox's Jonathan Savage saying she has nothing left in the tank. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern is resigning after more than 5 years in office.
Because with such a privileged role comes responsibility. The responsibility to know when you are the right person to lead and also when you are not.
Ardern became well known internationally with a response to a massacre in New Zealand and in the COVID pandemic. The Prime Minister in 2018 became just the second world leader to give birth while in office. America's listening to Fox. Rain and fog, locally heavy, dense fog is expected throughout the morning. 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A man in critical condition stabbed outside of a restaurant on Chicago's northwest side. The victim was arguing with another man who pulled out a sharp object, stabbing him last night in the 3200 block of North Pulaski. A suspected robber is wounded after being shot by an off-duty police officer on the south side. The officer interrupted an apparent robbery yesterday in front of an apartment building in the 1300 block of West 90th. Chicago Teachers Union accusing Mayor Lightfoot of reneging on a pledge to extend paid parental leave up to 12 weeks for teachers. Members of the CTU are demanding that teachers be granted the same leave now offered to city employees. The mayor says that has to be done through collective bargaining.
It has to be done through the collective bargaining process. They need to get at the table. They need to bring the CPS people along and get it done.
Meantime, Illinois could send $20 million to the city of Chicago for helping care for illegal immigrants. The funding is part of an appropriation bill passed by state lawmakers during the lame duck session. Prison and union officials in the state say 18 employees at a Central Illinois prison have been treated at hospitals after they became sick while responding to inmates who were suffering severe discomfort. Department of Corrections spokesperson Naomi Puzzello says staff were exposed to an unknown substance at the Graham Correctional Center in Hillsborough Wednesday, but this morning are in stable condition. Bulls take on the Pistons in Paris tonight. While the Blackhawks will try and stay hot when they visit Philadelphia. College hoops last night. DePaul upset number 8 Xavier 73-72. Loyola lost to St. Louis University. Bradley beat Indiana State. The news a service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency. Go to surroundchicago.com today. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum explains the strategy.
I think I have the diagnoses of how black people get tricked all the time by Democrats. The Democrats have not done anything that makes any sense for the black community. They don't care. They told you what you wanted to hear to take advantage of you. All they want is your vote. All they want is power and control. And they're going to do whatever they want to do after they get it.
The Officer Tatum Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel vPro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
As a Walgreens pharmacist, I talk with people all the time about little tips and tricks for filling their Medicare prescriptions, like taking advantage of Walgreens 90-day refills to save them a trip, or using Refill by Scan, which is super easy and right on your phone. And for anybody worried about prescription costs, I say, hey, we got you, with low-cost copays on many medications.
Let's talk about making things easier. Walgreens is here. Fill your way and save at walgreens.com/Medicare. See pharmacists for restrictions and exclusions.
Right now, there's unprecedented demand for pre-owned vehicles. If you're working from home and have an extra vehicle, now is a great time to sell it. Call Joe Cotton Ford for top dollar on any make or model pre-owned vehicle. If you need a commercial vehicle, come in and we'll get your vehicle ordered for you. Our commercial team is ready when you are. Also, our commercial service center can handle trucks up to 52,000 pounds. Come see why we're Chicagoland's best Ford buying experience. For 48 years, we've been delivering the perfect vehicle for your taste, needs, and budget. Joe Cotton Ford has the no-stress, easy buying experience. The Daily Herald top pick 9 years in a row for sales and service. Family owned and operated for 3 generations. From our family to yours, you have our word on it. That's Joe Cotton Ford, Gary and North Avenue in Carroll Stream, or at joecottonford.com. joecottonford.com.
Top pick is voted by Daily Herald readers.
It is 6:06. Let's get an update on the roads now. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Edens and Kennedy are off on time, even though they're wet this morning. Watch out on the Ike. Slow between Manheim and First Avenue. And right now, 26 minutes, 390 into the old post office. Stevenson inbound 17 from the Tri-State into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan in, already slow right at the Bishop Ford I-57 split up to 87. The Bishop Ford jamming into the Ryan merge. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, jam solid. 2 right lanes will be shut down until early next week with ongoing road work. It's on the northbound side over Montrose. Traffic, a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Download the AM 560 mobile app at 560theanswer.com/mobile. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with our AccuWeather meteorologist Steve Williams.
A passing shower this morning, a rain or snow shower for the afternoon. Clouds and breezy, look for high of 44. Snow shower this evening, otherwise cloudy and windy tonight, low 30. Clouds and breezy again tomorrow, a high at 33. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Rain and 37 at O'Hare, 36 along the lakefront, 39 at Midway. Your next news update, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. More KJP follies yesterday. White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre fielding, but not really fielding, questions from the D.C. press corps about, the ongoing revelations surrounding the Biden handling of classified information. Or I shouldn't ascribe it to Biden because he doesn't know anything about it. So the classified documents that were inadvertently placed in his home, in his garage, at his fake think tank that he knows nothing about, is not asking his lawyers about because he takes classified information very seriously and he wants a legal process to run its course. That's what I meant, of course.
Of course, Dan.
Good question posed to Karine Jean-Pierre, just about propriety, the standard setting. You're not commenting on anything because there's a legal process. Let me be very clear, and she's been very clear. She's not commenting on anything because there's a legal process, and we don't comment from this podium about ongoing DOJ investigations. Oh, I see. So then it was wrong when President Biden commented on 60 Minutes about an ongoing DOJ investigation into Trump?
Reference an interview that President Biden did in mid-September with 60 Minutes. And in that interview, he chided former President Trump for having in his possession classified documents. He called it irresponsible. First of all, do you think it was proper for President Biden to comment on an ongoing DOJ investigation?
So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to keep it really short today, as it relates to this particular issue, as it relates to an ongoing legal matter. I'm going to refer you to Department of Justice with that specific, as it relates to anything that you want to ask of us about this legal matter. I would refer you to the White House Counsel office. I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to go into further.
I'm simply asking you to comment
I just commented. We're moving on. Go ahead. No, go ahead. I already answered your question. Go ahead.
You really didn't.
Well, I did.
No, you didn't.
Well,
No.
it's your opinion. It's your opinion. It's your opinion. That is your opinion. Go ahead.
Was it wrong for Biden to comment? Let me refer you to DOJ and the White House Office of Counsel. I answered your question. Well, no, you didn't. Yes, I did. No, you didn't. Well, that's your opinion.
No, I did.
Yes, it is.
No.
No, it isn't. That it isn't. Yes, it is. I'm rubber and you're glue. That's about where it was going to go. Yeah. KJP wanted to keep it short, but the D.C. press corps didn't. And you'll pick up a certain refrain that KJP falls back on. I think, speaking of being chided, somebody in the Biden White House must have gotten to KJP and said, listen, just keep it to these couple of phrases. I'm sure they were very pleasant about it, but it's clear that you are somebody that is very dangerous to us because you're not good at what you do. And we can't do anything about that. So what we can do is say, just repeat these two phrases. Kick it to DOJ, right. Kick it to White House Counsel, and call it a day. But that didn't mean there wasn't an effort.
Understanding why
I just said
questions about procedure.
And I just said to you, the White House Counsel's office will be able to address that question.
Is President Biden satisfied with the current SOP of handling classified materials here and turning them over to National Archives?
Again, I will refer you to the White House Counsel's office. They are the people who would be able to answer that question about classified information.
So just to be clear, from this point on, are you not going to be taking questions about the classified documents?
I have been very clear over and over again. We are going to be prudent here. We're going to be consistent. This particular matter is being looked at. There's a legal process currently happening at the Department of Justice, and I'm going to refer you to the Department of Justice on any specifics to this particular case and anything that has to deal with what we're doing here. I would refer you to the White House Counsel's office. And let me.
Yeah. I'm enjoying this, I got to say.
Really? Grab a cup of coffee and sit down and watch it.
Well, there's play acting going on because remember, they're all on the same side. but they have to keep up appearances, so it's less obvious to some, at least in this country, that one is not the comm shop of the other, and that's the case. But, if you're going to buffalo at least half the country into believing that you're legitimate news outlets, that you're an actual watchdog on the other three estates, the fourth estate, that you are going to hold those in power accountable, that you are there to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. If you have to keep up those appearances, then you have to go through this persecution of KJP because she's just completely defenseless.
I mean, she really makes me miss Psaki.
No, I don't know. I think she's Psaki was more of a bitch, and I like KJP a little bit more. I really do, and I think KJP is more entertaining.
Yeah, well,
it's
hard to watch though because she's so bad at her job, and I always give somebody a month to make sure, give them a month, maybe they could figure it out. She's never ever going to figure it out.
No, and by the way, Psaki wasn't that good either, and then she had a bad attitude about it. KJP seems like she's sort of
lost in the woods.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like sort of like Joe Biden. That she sort of has this Chauncey Gardner thing going on. Oh. And I like Peter Sellers movies. So that was reporter number one. Reporter number two, and their names don't matter. They're fungible for the most part, except for Ducey and a couple of others. Reporter two. Okay. So the first one was, standard operating procedure for handling national security. Is that being reviewed now per, classified documents being found anywhere Joe Biden, like a breadcrumb trail. Anywhere he goes, there's classified documents in the wake. So that was one. Reporter two is, is there going to be a look-see? Like, has national security been compromised at all by the exposure of classified documents to people who didn't have security clearances? Like, I don't know, Hunter. They didn't ask that, but that's an obvious ask.
Go ahead. Sorry, but on questions that you should be able to answer here that shouldn't have to go to any other agency or entity, can you tell us if there's any sort of assessment that has been planned or launched to determine if national security has been jeopardized at all?
Again, that's for the Department of Justice.
Why is it a DOJ question?
And let's be clear, it's not your decision to make on what I can or can't answer from here. What I'm telling you is that we are respecting the process. We are being prudent from here. There is an investigation currently happening. And when there are investigations that are happening that the DOJ is currently reviewing or looking at, we have been very consistent to say that you need to go to the Department of Justice.
With NSC or with any other intelligence
Again,
agency?
I would refer you. It's very.
Let me guess.
It's very
Department
clear.
of Justice?
I just laid out. There should be no confusion here. There is a legal process happening, and I would refer you to the Department of Justice.
Yeah, I thought you might. Then reporter three took another angle. This is a pretty good one, actually.
Okay, I can't wait to hear it.
Well, I did take your instruction to talk to the Department of Justice, and when I said that you can answer my questions.
We've all reached out to the Department of Justice. A law enforcement official tells NBC News the Justice Department has not told the White House that it cannot talk about the facts underlying the special counsel investigation into classified documents. So trusting you've received that same information, understanding the desire to be prudent, then why can't you speak about the underlying facts?
We've been very clear when it comes to even underlying facts, when it comes to specifics, when it comes to something that is under the purview, that the Department of Justice is looking at, especially legal matters, investigations, we do not comment from here, Peter. That has been consistent.
So is the White House in talks right now to find someone either outside the White House or internally who can speak on behalf of the White House representing the special counsel office within the White House from this podium or any of those talks?
I would refer you to the White House counsel.
I would refer you to the White House counsel's office on that.
Good for Peter Alexander from NBC News. He did his homework. Yes. Good. Don't let this up because Biden's been running from the media for 5 days now. This will be the 6th day. And she clearly is just going to play this cat and mouse game until something happens. I don't know, until something bigger happens or until they get their act together over there.
I just
and
like
talk
Peter
to the media.
Alexander's sort of complicated way of saying, "Hey, is there somebody else we could talk to?
Anybody back there behind
Can
the curtain?
you put somebody on contract? Go over to Edelman and get one of the flacks over there to come and just be a contract spokesperson, or John Kirby, is he available? I'd refer you to the White House counsel's office on that, of course. Now, there has been a little bit of updated reporting. Peter Ducey was on that yesterday with respect to the search of the Biden premises. It wasn't really a search. It was Biden's lawyers going to pick up the classified documents, in the vet, in the compartment next to the garage, in the library, and in the
room next
rumpus
to the garage.
room, and right, exactly, and so on and so forth. So here's Ducey explaining that it wasn't completely unsupervised. Yeah, they did defer to Biden's attorneys, but then there were DOJ officials intermittently on site to pick up whatever classified documents these lawyers without security clearances came upon.
Now we can report that there were Justice Department officials there. The Justice Department had folks go to the location that the classified material was found to retrieve it and take possession of it, and then be on their way to go take the classified material and put it back where it is supposed to be. Just because that means that just because the FBI didn't go and send a bunch of agents with windbreakers, doesn't mean that the Biden lawyers' search was completely unsupervised the entire time. It doesn't sound like the Justice Department had folks there throughout while people were going through every possible place that these documents could have been. But and the special counsel here at the White House, Richard Sauber, alluded to this in a statement on Saturday. He said that he transferred the material to DOJ officials that accompanied him. So what that means is these DOJ officials did go to the spot at the Biden house where the material was that the Biden lawyers who do not have security clearances found, and they took it. And so when Biden officials over the last few days here at the White House have said they did everything the right way, this is a new detail in the way they consider things to have been done right.
Yeah. That's not exactly good enough. I mean, that's nice that the DOJ official came to pick up the documents that the attorneys, Biden attorneys recovered. But, I just wonder when those DOJ officials came and they're, milling about having a smoke outside the Biden compound.
Why didn't they stay?
Did they hear the humming of a shredder by any chance?
That's what I was thinking.
What, do you hear that?
Yeah.
Is that coming from the second floor?
Is that a vacuum cleaner? What?
Uh-huh. So
I just don't trust any of them, and I don't trust the media, because CBS and NBC knew about this story and they sat on it until recently.
November 2nd, first batch, December 20th, second batch.
They knew that too, and they waited and waited and waited until after the midterms and a little time after. Oh, now it's Christmas holiday. Let's not ruffle any feathers. But I think that they're doing to Biden what they did to Cuomo. Remember, after all the nursing home deaths and the Democrats wanted him out, then they started finding women who he might have touched or put a hand on their buttocks or the middle of their back. I think that they went searching for that to try and bring him down, which eventually he went down. I think that this is their way of doing it to Biden, kicking him out of the party.
Who the they is. The always the amorphous, shadowy they. Yeah. So it's a theory that's been bandied about for some time, well before actually these classified documents, that ultimately the amorphous they, would find a way to usher him out. The powers that be inside the Joe Obama White House would move him out, because clearly he can't run again in 24, and this is the opportunity that presented itself. Perhaps one thing James Freeman points out, I think, is good as well. Be a good question. This is not part of a DOJ investigation. That's an underlying fact that I know KJP won't speak to. But since the big guy, Mr. 10%, President Biden, is claiming to have been completely in the dark about how classified documents ended up in his office, his home, his garage, why doesn't he ask questions of his staff?
Right.
He's not allowed to ask the lawyers, he says, about the contents of the documents. But certainly a inquisitive president who is someone who takes classified documents very seriously, he's made that point a number of times. Well, why don't you just ask your staff how they got there? And then share that.
Yeah, he threw them under a bus on Saturday when somebody leaked something to NBC News saying that he was upset with his aides for carelessly putting, those documents together.
So why is a Justice Department investigation necessary? He can obtain information from the people who work for him, can't he? He has the power to figure this all out if we're to accept his premise. If we take him at face value, okay, all right, you can believe that known. I'll tell you what, why don't you find out and let us know? What about that? Right. Completely in the dark. Justice Department investigation, a legal process playing out. You're a fact finder. You're a truth seeker. You're a truth teller. That's what you tell us. Go find out. Go ask somebody.
312-642-5600. Turnkey.pro answer line. You can always reach us too on our text line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
Steve in Huntley, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, morning, Dan and Amy. You two are terrific. Dan, you're right on. Oh, my gosh. Why isn't anybody asking them, hey, look, now that we've found these documents all these times, are there any more?
Steve,
have you done a search to see if there's any more?
Steve, I think we've been very clear on this. There's a legal process. We've been transparent. We take classified documents very seriously. I'd refer you to the Department of Justice or the White House counsel's office for any answers to any inquiries you have.
Well, and the other thing then is,
Steve. We as I've said, we've been very clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for all the good work you
did.
did.
Yeah. Can't be more clear. Take this seriously. Sure they do. Michael on the South Side.
Morning, Dan. Morning, Amy. Thank you both for taking my call. I know I will have to answer for this emotion one day, but I got to say, I love watching Karine Jean-Pierre squirm at the podium. I love it. When I think about all of the abuse that was heaped on Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Kellyanne Conway, I feel that her Karine Jean-Pierre squirming is a good old-fashioned payback. I love it. Yeah, just think about all the intermittent.
Oh, I'm sorry for interrupting, but Sanders was good at her job, and Katie McInerney, she was the Kaylee, excuse me. McEnany. Sorry, I always get. They were good at their job because they're smart women. I don't think KJP's so smart. Sorry.
Well, that's the thing. But think about all the internet memes that would be floating around if Kellyanne Conway or Sarah Huckabee Sanders or the other woman had said the same thing to Karine Jean-Pierre.
That was no woman. That was Sean Spicer. Yeah. Thanks for the call, Michael. Yeah. Len in Highland Park.
He got better.
Well, first of all, you're only as smart as the information given to you. But first, don't take away Chauncey Gardner from Kamala Harris. She is Chauncey Gardner. Okay,
yeah.
Listen to the repetition in her sentences.
If Chauncey Gardner was a prostitute, but anyway, go ahead.
Why don't they just boycott one day? Everyone get together, show some unity, and don't ask any questions. Just sit there and don't ask questions, and see what Juan Pierre does.
Actually, thanks for the call. If I was like, I don't know, yeah, but then you ruin your access and you won't be called on in class and all these silly juvenile things.
Put you in the back of the room.
Yeah, you take my press pass away. Sit me next to John Gizzy there. So here's I would just go in there and like if I was Ducey, Madam Spokeshuman, or whatever I'm supposed to call you. Is there a legal process going on? Could you describe the legal process and where I can get information about the legal process? I would just ask questions to prompt her to give me the bromide that I would then follow up with and repeat back to her. Just like be a wall, and so just bounce back her phrases to her, and we can just do that all day. Do that for like an hour of just bouncing cliches back and forth, sort of trying to out cliche the other one.
How does she think today's going to be any different than yesterday or the day before that? I mean, Trump did not have press people did not have media availabilities every day. But she even said when she left, she's like, "All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow." Why?
No,
you guys who like to watch are going to see her squirm again today.
Because they're transparent. That's why they'll see her tomorrow, so that she can repeat the same, misdirectional rhetoric. The Michael on the South Side talking about the retribution. Like he, sort of the this is the standard you set, and now you're feeling it. That was a point that Dan Henninger made in his piece in the Wall Street Journal. I thought was good. He writes, Democrats aren't merely in hell because of the Mar-a-Lago comparable. Ring-fence the two document disputes, and normally they'd fade from view as procedural smoke. The Democrats are in pain because of the 4-year political bonfire they lit and stoked from 2016 through 2020. There were moments through and after the Trump term when some of us mused the onslaught was over the top by any standard. 2 impeachments. Now Joe Biden knows what it feels. And now knows what it feels like to be media clickbait for all the wrong reasons. This is the permanent politics of retribution, and it can get worse. The investigations of 2 special counsels will hang like 2 cement shoes waiting to drop across 23 and perhaps into the 24 presidential campaign. Potential candidates soon need to visit primary states to campaign and fundraise, but the frozen legal status of Trump and Biden will hamper that process. He's right about that, and this is not a great place to be, the permanent politics of retribution, but it's the direct result of the 2016 to 2020 behavior, and which is now extended into the last 2 years of the first 2 years, being the first 2 years of Biden. But 2016 to 2020 is the standard they set, and now that's boomeranging that on them in part, and perhaps even ultimately, which would be the greatest irony of all, benefiting Trump. Coming up at 6:36, Philadelphia Flyers defenseman won't wear the rainbow jersey. Sports and politics, 6:36.
And later, you're not going to want to miss a programming note. We have John Paul on. He's the repair shop owner who worked on Hunter Biden's laptop. He joins us at 8:38. But now, let's head straight into that newsroom. The one and only Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Amy and Dan, rain and fog. Everyone is dealing with some heavy, dense fog in some areas this morning, 36 degrees. And the federal government poised to hit the debt ceiling today. That's the limit of money the government is allowed to borrow to meet its financial obligations at about $31 trillion. Workers in many French cities are taking to the streets to reject proposed pension changes that would push back retirement age, the nominal age, from 62 to 64. Now, France has a long life expectancy, and everyone does receive a state pension. Protesters have set fire to the police station and judicial offices in the Peruvian town of Macusani after 2 were killed and another seriously injured by anti-government protesters. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern is leaving office after nearly 6 years in which she was praised globally for her handling of the nation's worst mass shooting and slammed universally for her government-driven response to the coronavirus pandemic.
I am leaving because with such a privileged role comes responsibility. The responsibility to know when you are the right person to lead and also when you are not.
Recent polls have put Ardern far behind some conservative rivals. A decision expected to be announced today on whether charges will be filed against Alec Baldwin for the fatal shooting on a New Mexico movie set. Baldwin killed cinematographer Halyne Hutchins with an antique revolver in 2021 in an incident he claims is an accident during a dress rehearsal for the movie Rust. A man is in critical condition, stabbed outside of a Chicago restaurant on the Northwest Side. The victim was arguing with another man who pulled out a sharp object and stabbed him last night in the 3200 block of North Pulaski. The CTU is accusing Mayor Lightfoot of reneging on a pledge to extend paid parental leave of up to 12 weeks for teachers and some school support staff. The mayor now says this policy has to be bargained for through the collective process.
It has to be done through the collective bargaining process. They need to get at the table. They need to bring the CPS people along and get it done.
Last fall, Lightfoot announced all city employees would be receiving 12 weeks paid parental leave beginning later this month. Indiana's Supreme Court will hear arguments today on a challenge to the state's near-total ban on abortion. A county judge blocked that law in September after abortion care providers, including Planned Parenthood, challenged it. The man behind iconic movies like Wall Street and American Psycho is dead. Maverick independent producer Edward Pressman is dead at the age of 79. He leaves behind a legendary catalog of movies like Badlands, Conan the Barbarian, and The Crow. Bulls take on the Pistons this afternoon as they play in Paris for the first time in 3 years. Blackhawks visit Philadelphia tonight. College hoops action last night. DePaul upset number 8 Xavier. Loyola lost to St. Louis University, and Bradley beat Indiana State. Illinois State lost to Northern Iowa. The news, a service of the Salem Podcast Network. Hear the latest podcast episodes from Charlie Kirk, Todd Starnes, Trish Regan, and many more. Subscribe free at salempodcastnetwork.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
If you listen to the mainstream media and the Democrats, you'd think it was a sin to be black and conservative. Well, John Anthony blows up that perception every week on Black and Right. Join John this Saturday afternoon at 4 when he pushes back against the left and its regressive, progressive agenda that tries to dictate how people should think or feel about politics. Listen to Black and Right this Saturday afternoon at 4 right here on AM 560. The Answer.
We all want to eat healthy, but have you ever read the ingredients list off of your favorite snack? Between the hard-to-pronounce ingredients and man-made additives, it's difficult to find anything made from real, natural ingredients. Even some of my favorite organic snacks have ingredients I haven't heard of. At Balance of Nature, we know the value of real nutrition that can only be found in real food. That's why the only things you'll find on our ingredients list are real whole fruits and vegetables. No additives, fillers, or artificial ingredients of any kind. Balance of Nature is the best whole fruit and vegetable product on the market, delivering your body everything it needs to function at its very best. Eat better and feel better. Start your journey to better health. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get free shipping. And don't forget to get 35% off your first preferred order by using discount code CHICAGO.
If you'd like information about the many amazing benefits of reverse mortgage loans, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Attention anyone at least 62, those with parents at least 62, family law attorneys and financial planners. Reverse mortgages are amazing loans for experienced homeowners wanting to enhance their monthly cash flow by deferring mortgage payments and accessing their home's equity tax-free to make safety enhancements to their homes and pay for real estate taxes, food, electric, transportation, and in-home elderly care. To inform listeners about this amazing mortgage option for experienced homeowners, Team Hochberg would like to send you a complimentary reverse mortgage informational packet. Let's review. If you're 62, have parents at least 62, family law attorneys, and financial planners, and would like an informational package about all the amazing benefits of reverse mortgages, give me a call at 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com, 855-563-2843, or visit our website, 56david.com. Lower LLC, Equal Housing Lender, MLS 1124061.
It is 6:38. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center Time is a service of Blindster.com. Started in 2010 to provide custom blind shades and shutters at affordable prices. Their blinds are easy to install. Shipping is free. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com. Kennedy inbound 29 minutes. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Ike inbound right now at 37 from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson inbound jam solid Harlem to Kedzie. It is 43 minutes from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. I-57 in the Bishop Ford jamming into the Ryan Merge this hour. And on the Tri-State, slowing up northbound on 294 between the Reagan and the outbound Eisenhower ramps. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Cloudy and breezy with a shower this morning, then rain and snow showers for the afternoon. High of 44 and then slowly dropping temperatures throughout the day to a low of 30 overnight. 37 right now. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
Politics and sports and politics and sports and politics and intersection. Arrogance and ignorance. Arrogance, ignorance, and arrogance and ignorance. Intersection.
Yeah, on this installment of Sports and Politics, this flap over Philadelphia Flyers defenseman Ivan Provorov, who refused to wear the LGBTQ plus jersey on LGBTQ plus jersey night in the NHL.
It basically was a rainbow through their numbers, and then they had rainbow-colored tape on their sticks.
Mm-hmm. Here's what Provorov said to the media about his decision.
I respect everybody's choices. My choice is to stay true to myself and my religion. That's all I'm going to say. Like I said, that's all I'm going to comment on that. If you have any hockey questions, I would answer those.
Can you just clarify clarify your religion?
Yeah, right. So he's a Russian Orthodox Christian, and didn't want to sport the LGBTQ plus flag. So what do you say to Yvonne?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 646-36. Type in DA, then a quick comment. And basically the Flyers then auctioned off those jerseys and the sticks, and the proceeds went to a diverse community to help grow the game of hockey. Okay.
Yeah. If you're critical of Colin Kaepernick or other NFLers for expressing themselves on the field, kneeling during the anthem, shouldn't you be critical of Ivan Provorov for not going along with what the ownership wanted, not going along with what the culture demands, and making a stand based on his personal religious beliefs? Right? If it's good for Ivan Provorov, isn't it good for Colin Kaepernick and those NFLers who took a knee, or NBAers?
I'm just surprised
or women's soccer team members, and so on and so forth.
But I'm surprised he didn't get suspended, or I'm shocked that the NHL didn't impose any sanctions against him for not going out.
Well, we'll see. It's still early. Okay. Give you an example of the Sports Press Corps' reaction. You can imagine. Sports Press Corps being an extension of the D.C. Press Corps. People who so desperately want to be taken seriously as journalists and commentators in the Sports Press Corps. It's funny. They're funny. Sid Seixeira is his name. He's the co-host of Breakfast Television. It's a morning show in Toronto. You know, hockey's very popular in Canada.
Oh, yeah. I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, have you heard that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Northern Minnesota, too. Yeah, Michigan.
He spoke for, the new Marxists in, strange Brewland, as well as here, when he offered this diatribe.
Hockey is for everyone, okay? The theme is not hockey is for everyone, ... unless you don't believe in gay rights, then do whatever you want. If the National Hockey League is going to do this, if any league is going to do this, do it properly or reevaluate what you're doing. Because there's not a lot of repercussions that I'm seeing from any league. Now, it could change with the NHL. Could change with the NHL. I think you fine the Flyers $1 million for this. I'm not kidding. Figure this out and stop offending people on nights where it's not about that. It's supposed to be about inclusivity. The National Hockey League need to attack this and figure this out. Because what I heard last night was offensive and didn't make any sense. Because, for instance, if that was a military night, okay?
Right.
If anyone in Canada or in the States on a military appreciation night wouldn't wear a jersey pregame, do you have any idea the uproar that would have happened on that? Do you have any idea the backlash? Do you have any idea what happened on social media? It's ridiculous what would have happened.
Look, it was just a minute ago we were talking about the uproar that was happening with FIFA fever, where if you were seen with so much as a rainbow anywhere, you had to fear for your life, imprisonment, or death.
Yeah.
Seriously. So, and now here we are.
I just think the NHL has to do something here. This is not good enough. This is not good enough. Hockey is for everyone, ... unless you don't agree with gay rights is not the phrasing of this. You're either in this or you're not. And one last point. Nothing scares me more than any human being who says, I'm not doing this because of my religious beliefs. Because when you looked in people's lives, you normally say that publicly, you'd throw up at what you saw.
Oh, my.
You would throw up at what you saw. And I have seen that 1 million times in a lot of different ways. So don't give me that. With respect. Don't give me that, because no one's perfect.
With respect.
All right? Don't feed me the religious beliefs line. And all of a sudden the NHL is going to back off this. The National Hockey League today needs to find that organization $1 million and reevaluate how they support gay rights. Because that is insulting. That is the #1 trending topic in Canada. That is insulting what happened in Philadelphia.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. A lot there from those two deep thinkers manning the morning breakfast or breakfast morning or whatever, some ghastly show in Toronto. Don't give me the personal religious beliefs bull jive, because, you hear somebody invoke their religious beliefs and you know that person's a hypocrite. Probably even worse than somebody who doesn't have religious beliefs.
And he's going to throw up.
That's the implication. We were just getting over the dingbat to his right on the desk there. We just had this FIFA mania where if you had a rainbow flag on your jersey, you could be arrested and so forth. Yeah.
That's those country rules, and they decided to play soccer in a country that rule is in place.
Right. That's because you're in Qatar.
Right. So follow.
We're talking about the United States, and we're talking about Canada. Canada has some approximation of the First Amendment. It's not nearly as strong as ours, obviously, but it has some paean to free expression in their constitution. And also the comparison between Military Appreciation Night and LGBTQ plus night. Are those apples? Is that an apples to apples comparison?
No.
What's the difference?
You're talking about men who fought for our freedoms, and you're talking about just this narrative that they want to push. I mean, they want you, if you don't conform to their ideologies, they're going to come after you. Can't even compare them. And then the guy pounding the desk like, they have to do something now.
The Pathway to Hockey Summit is an informational and networking event designed to encourage all individuals to consider a career in our game, and in particular, alert those who might not be familiar with hockey to the opportunities it offers, according to an NHL spokesman, talking about an NHL event advertisement that invites people, per the spokesman, to find out more about hockey. It's a career event for diverse job seekers. Participants must be 18 years of age or older.
Yep.
Based in the U.S. Identify as female, Black, Asian Pacific Islander, Hispanic, Latino, Indigenous, LGBTQIA+, and or a person with disability. Veterans are also welcome and encouraged to attend. The event slated to occur on February 2nd in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Well, you might be able to discern what's missing from their list of people who are invited to attend this career event for diverse job seekers. Honkies, in case you missed it. Ron DeSantis, he's the governor of Florida, where the event is taking place, Fort Lauderdale. Discrimination of any sort is not welcome in the state of Florida, and we do not abide the woke notion that discrimination should be overlooked if applied in a politically popular manner or against a politically unpopular demographic. We're fighting all discrimination in our schools and our workplaces, and we'll fight it in publicly accessible places of meeting or activity. We call upon the NHL to immediately remove and denounce the discriminatory prohibitions it has imposed on attendance to its 2023 Pathway to Hockey Summit. Remember, the NHL has also made the claim, the front office PR types, it did on social media, trans women are women, trans men are men. Non-binary identity is real. This is the NHL wading into this area. And so if the NHL wants to wade into this area and wants to express themselves, and the owners want to express themselves, then Ivan Provorov wants to express himself too. And now again, he could be, these are private organizations, and he can be subject to disciplinary action per the terms of his employment with the Philadelphia Flyers or with the NHL. It's fine. It's more the cultural reaction that's interesting, and the reaction as nicely encapsulated by these two dopes from the Toronto morning show that you just heard. That's what I'm interested in.
And you know why this all started? This is what I think. When they started allowing football players to wear pink in October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I always fought back against it. Just keep you wear a uniform for a reason. Keep the uniform on. I just want to watch sports. I don't want to, have it commercialized more with saying, oh, go get your mammogram. I'll get my mammogram. I don't need to see a football player wear pink to get it. Because then it morphed into other things. Now we're doing this, and now we're wearing rainbows, and now, I
don't know that breast cancer awareness was the gateway to this, to these politics, but I take your point. Scooter on the South Side.
Hey, good morning. First, I want to say I have nothing against the gay community.
Oh yeah,
okay?
Of course you have to say that, right?
Well, yeah.
Right, everybody has to say that.
This defenseman for the Flyers, in his little speech there, he said that it was his choice. Don't we have choice in this country? It's our choice to be gay. It's our choice to do this. As long as he's not doing anything to hurt these people.
He's hurt their feelings.
I don't see what's wrong.
Oh, there
what
you
are you
go.
talking about?
That's the biggest sin ever. You're right, Dan.
He's hurt their feelings, and even more to the point, he's rejected their overture for allyship, and he is not celebrating their lifestyles and the choices they make.
How dare he?
He's being uninclusive, and there's no greater sin. So no, again, are people not picking up on this?
Well, they're calling him. He's hiding behind his religion. Now they're trying to take away his job.
Are people not picking up on this? The tolerance is imposed celebration. That's what tolerance has been redefined to actually mean. Jordan Antioch.
Good morning. A couple things on this. First off, as far as the uniform, this is my opinion. If you are a hockey player, I'm a garbage man. If the company that you work for, i.e. the Philadelphia Flyers or the company I work for, says you have to wear this and it's part of your contract, it's part of the terms of your employment, then just wear it. If it's your stick and you're endorsed by a company, then don't put the tape on your stick. Fine, I get that. And the second part of this is the reason that you didn't see this with the military and you do the LGBT whatever is because more people support the military than support this. And the outrage is because they're upset because, you supported them, and if you don't support us, everybody's going to see that nobody supports us. So you have to support us so that everybody thinks that people support us. And that's the thing. Like you said, force compliance. Your base is not there, so you want to force everybody to be your base. The third thing is, with this knucklehead in Canada, okay, you fear things when you say, oh, well, the first thing I think about when somebody says about their religion, well, you know what the first thing I hear when somebody says what you said is I hear persecution. I hear that what's been going on for thousands of years. It's a war on religion, and that's the scarier part than somebody who says, I have faith, and this is where I'm going to stand, is somebody who wants to punish you for your faith. Thanks,
Yeah,
guys. Have a good day.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Jordan. I would love to have this this dope on the show. We'll try to get him. Maybe I'll tweet at him, see if I can rile him up.
Yeah.
Really, so anytime you hear somebody invoke their religion, your spidey senses are tingling because you look at that person and their life is a shambles, and these are just hypocrites, and they're just bigots hiding behind religion, right? That's the implication. Really. So when Cassius Clay, you know him as Muhammad Ali, when he refused to enlist to go to Vietnam, and he lost his heavyweight title, conscientious objector. Was that a scam? Was his personal life a mess, and that's why he was hiding behind his religion? He wasn't truly a devout Muslim. He wasn't a conscientious objector who just opposed war on principle and so didn't want to participate in it. Did you respect that invocation of religion by a professional athlete? I wonder. I'd love to get his response to that. Brian in Lansing.
Good morning. I just wanted to say I am a gay man, and I'm tired of all the conformity. They're pushing their agenda on everyone these days, and instead of getting people to be with the cause, they're actually causing animosity and creating enemies, whether it's a bakery, whether it's a football team. I mean, you could even go down to the lawmaker who wants to pass it for putting feminine products in the bathroom because all of a sudden now boys can have a cycle. It's ridiculous.
Thanks for the call, Brian.
Yeah, thanks,
Appreciate
Brian.
that perspective. Yeah, it's not. I mean, that's something to remember. The gay community. Everybody's part of a community. Well, some people are less a part of a community they're described to be. They're not monolithic. Different viewpoints.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Belief in peaceful pluralism, like Brian and Lansing. So, right. That's mainly what we're talking about here. That's why it's a cultural question, more so than a legal one. It's the cultural response that's what's important.
Hey, we got a great text message. Would they be going after this hockey player if his religion was Islam?
Well, there's something else too. Well, right, yes, and that's a good point. And there's something else too here. The military to the LGBTQIA pride flag thing. Military is service.
Right.
It's a commitment you made to serve others on behalf of all. How is that the same thing as being compelled to celebrate people's identity? I mean, this is the same thing. It's like we have Black People Night and Latino People Night and Asian People Night and so on and so forth. I mean, it's just cheap identity politics. That's all it is.
Marketing, because you want more people to come. Like they have Dog Night. They want people.
No, it's not. No. It's not like Dog Night. It's politics. It's like we're pushing a political agenda. It's like we're part of the righteousness brigades in the culture. They're folding in and imposing. It's identity politics, which has permeated all sectors of our culture, including sports. And the last thing that will fall, the last place that it will fall, and it's starting to fall. Please see Leah Thomas in the pool. Is that sports, which is the last meritocracy, will not be. And to the extent that there is not significant minority participation, well, then it's all hands on deck, like you see with the NHL, because it's 5% white because of all those, Canucks that populate the league. Frank, Arlington Heights.
Hi, good morning. I used to really be into sports in the 90s, early 2000s. I used to go to the bars all the time, watch football, watch basketball, everything. I would do that. And, really since 9/11, these sports have gotten way too into politics, even the military stuff. I mean, you go to a Cubs game and they have, the hero of the military stuff. I know why we're doing it. They serve, but it's just like sports should be about sports. That's it. You go there to watch the game. I don't want to see any politics of any kind.
I agree with you.
It's a big turn off.
Thanks for the call, Frank. I mean, I completely agree with you. I prefer that as well, for it to be a sanctuary from politics, but there are no such sanctuaries. And that's mainly because of the rapaciousness of the left and the cowardice of cultural conservatives to stand up and say, you're not going to do this to us and to things we care about and to people we care about. But we haven't done that.
Oh, sorry. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk markets and the economic landscape, maybe get a little reaction from what's happening at the World Economic Forum. Christopher Whalen, 707.
Today it's going to be yucky. Clouds, breezy, showers, fog in the morning, then rain, snow showers likely this afternoon. 7 a.m. WIND Chicago.
We've maxed out our credit card. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The U.S. hit the debt limit today, so we can't borrow anymore. But the Treasury Department will be taking steps to keep funding government payments, but only until June.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says Congress must raise the debt limit without drama or delay.
It is essential for Congress to recognize that dealing with the debt ceiling is their constitutional responsibility. This is an easy one. This is something that should be happening without conditions.
House Republicans are demanding linking a debt limit increase to new caps on spending.
Fox's Jared Halpern. Congressman Chip Roy tells Fox Business those cuts are necessary to rein in Democrats.
The climate change, worshiping and the woke policies that are undermining our ability to create wealth.
President Biden will leave for California next hour to get an update on the response to all the damage recent storms did, dumping feet of rain, causing flooding, and hundreds of mudslides. At least 20 people were killed. There's a call from some activists in Atlanta for a night of rage tomorrow night, calling on violence against police after a shooting yesterday outside a new public safety training center as law enforcement tried to clear a protest encampment. One of the men in a tent refused to comply and shot a state trooper.
The individual who fired upon law enforcement and shot the trooper was killed in the exchange of gunfire.
Georgia Bureau of Investigation Director Mike Register says the trooper is in intensive care after surgery. For the second time in a week, the U.S. Supreme Court has refused to block new gun restrictions in New York while appeals play out in lower courts.
Gun sellers argue New York's new laws hurt their businesses. They wanted a temporary injunction against the laws, which call for firearms dealers to secure guns in a locked area, install security systems, and give gun sales records to government law enforcement.
Fox's Nigel Nato. Now, the court could ultimately still block the law like it did to a previous New York gun law, which led to this new one being passed and challenged. America's listening to Fox News.
Rain and fog. Some of that locally heavy, dense fog will cut into your visibility this morning. 36 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. And a man is in critical condition, stabbed outside of a restaurant on the northwest side. It happened in the 3200 block of North Pulaski Road. A suspected robber wounded after being shot by an off-duty Chicago police officer on the south side. Police say the officer interrupted an apparent robbery yesterday in front of an apartment building in the 1300 block of West 90th. Chicago Teachers Union is accusing Mayor Lightfoot of reneging on a pledge to extend paid parental leave for up to 12 weeks for teachers. The mayor says that has to be done through the collective bargaining process.
It has to be done through the collective bargaining process. They need to get at the table. They need to bring the CPS people along and get it done.
The Illinois State Rifle Association is suing over newly enacted assault weapons bans and other restrictions on gun owners and gun rights groups. They filed suit challenging the law, claiming it violates the Second Amendment. More lawsuits are expected in federal court. Others have been filed in state court, one in Crawford County, another in Effingham County by former Republican Illinois Attorney General candidate Tom DeVore. Here's AM 560's Greg Bishop.
At least 3 separate lawsuits have been filed challenging the gun and magazine ban Governor J.B. Pritzker enacted last week. One lawsuit was filed in Crawford County State Court. Attorney Thomas DeVore was given an emergency hearing Wednesday for the case he filed in Effingham County State Court.
We had argument for about 2 hours on the elements of whether the temporary restraining order would be an appropriate thing for the judge to do. Judge took it under advisement and says he will issue his opinion by close of business on Friday.
If the court grants temporary relief, it's expected to only impact the more than 860 people in DeVore's lawsuit.
We're looking for a final ruling that invalidates this law on Illinois constitutional grounds. But in the short term, any injunctive relief would only relate to our particular clients.
The Illinois State Rifle Association filed their lawsuit late Tuesday. I'm Greg Bishop.
The Bulls are up against the Pistons in Paris this afternoon. Blackhawks take on Philadelphia. Number 23, Illinois, go for their 5th in a row when they host Indiana tonight. College hoops last night, DePaul upset number 8 Xavier, 73-72. The news is a service of the Daybreak Insider podcast. Each weekday morning, subscribe free at daybreakinsider.com. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Sean Thompson Show.
Does this country even represent itself? How it used to be? Have we become so used to fascism, so used to political whores and pimps and open and notorious bribery, that a scoundrel like Kevin McCarthy would even be considered, which goes to show you just how systemic the corruption is in this country.
The Sean Thompson Show, weekday afternoons at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Willie Wilson for mayor of Chicago. The violence in Chicago must stop. Willie Wilson pledges real action to do that. A revised police structure, 4 superintendents, more accessible to their neighborhoods, providing faster communication and concentration of resources. Willie Wilson pledges more integrated police patrols to increase community, confidence, and cooperation. Willie Wilson's pledge will make Chicago safer. Finally, Chicago, do it right. Willie Wilson for mayor.
In Cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel vPro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
As a Walgreens pharmacist, I talk with people all the time about little tips and tricks for filling their Medicare prescriptions, like taking advantage of Walgreens 90-day refills to save them a trip, or using Refill by Scan, which is super easy and right on your phone. And for anybody worried about prescription costs, I say, hey, we got you, with low-cost copays on many medications.
Let's talk about making things easier. Walgreens is here. Fill your way and save at walgreens.com/Medicare. See pharmacists for restrictions and exclusions.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule. Changing the world, one life at a time.
Well, I drive a truck for a living. I don't get hardly any exercise. I'm not kidding you now. I'm not easily sold on anything, but I'm a firm believer in this product. You know, I watched those advertisements for 2 or 3 years and listened to the radio going down the road, and I said, something's got to be going on with that product for that many people to do ads for them. And I'll tell you what, I just uptown a while ago, I told some of my buddies, I said, I'm not BSing you, man. I'm not kidding you. It's amazing. It totally amazes me.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Start your journey to better health today by calling 1-800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
There are a million reasons to go beyond the numbers with your finances. Done right, your financial strategy should lighten your step so that you can lift up others. At Thrivent, we've helped clients with advice, investments, insurance, banking, and generosity for over 100 years. Let us help you find your financial clarity and live a life that's full as well as fulfilling. See how your money can do more at Thrivent.com. Thrivent is the marketing name for Thrivent Financial for Lutherans. Thrivent.com/disclosures.
7:08 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of the AM 560 store. T-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Croft University. Inbound on the Edens Expressway, 20 minutes in, Lake Cook Road to the junction. Kennedy on the inbound side, accident, left lane block just after Cumberland, 43 into the Burns Circle interchange. Ike inbound 52, 390 to the old post office. Ike outbound, accident, outbound right at Wolf Road. It's 22 minutes out to Manheim. Stevenson 52 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, roadwork bottling up 2 right-hand lanes until early next week on the northbound side of Lakeshore Drive over Montrose. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with our meteorologist Steve Williams.
Clouds and breezy, passing shower this morning, a rain and snow shower this afternoon. High today 44, a snow shower tonight, otherwise cloudy and windy. Low tonight at 30. Breezy, cloudy day tomorrow, the high at 33. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Rain and fog 37. Next news at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. In case you don't know much about Larry Fink, who is the head of BlackRock, or in case you don't appreciate how much of a smug prick he is, he helped us out by sitting down for an interview with Bloomberg to talk about ESG, which he is one of the principal advocates of, the environmental, social governance of corporations, turning companies into political actors where they funnel some of their profits to the political left. Yeah, and, they get some return through proper rent-seeking behavior. How's it going, Larry? You okay? All the slings and arrows you've had to suffer for being out and proud in advance of ESG?
Do you think inflation has peaked?
Oh, very much so. I think inflation is going to drop very, very quickly. In fact, I believe many of us will be surprised how quickly it will fall. The problem is it will fall very quickly. Sort of 9 to 4 will be the easy part, and then it's going to get very difficult to get inflation back to price stability. So, but at the moment, I think the initial phase will be a very rapid decline in inflation.
So what does it mean for central banks?
That's not the clip. Having a bit of technical problems here this morning. I apologize. But the essential gist of what Larry Fink had to say was that it's well worth it. It's been overblown. It's been surprising to him, the personal attacks he has suffered. But even though there's been some high-profile pullout of pension fund money from states like Louisiana and Florida to the tune of about $4 billion, worry not, because it's been $4 billion in outflows and $200 billion in inflows in 2022, said Larry Fink. So there's a lot more leftist control of government, and he didn't say it quite these terms, but I'm translating. There's a lot more leftist-controlled government out there that's happy to funnel money to outfits like mine, where we'll in turn funnel some of it back to their favored political initiatives. For more on this, pleased to be joined by Christopher Whalen, investment banker and chairman of Whalen Global Advisors, author of Ford Men, From Inspiration to Enterprise, and editor of the Institutional Risk Analyst. Christopher Whalen, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan. You're talking about one of my favorite subjects. Good morning, Amy.
Yeah, and I'm sure your favorite people, Larry Fink. What a hero.
No, Larry is a twit. He should have shown courage and pushed back, and he didn't. The whole business community has shown a total lack of guts when it comes to ESG. And my friends in the ratings community, Moody's, S&P, KBRA, all of them jumped into the mosh pit with the left. And it's a confused mess. The funny part about ESG is you would never really put any of the components together. But because they had this kind of governance thing going on, they decided to throw the E and the S in there too, and just latch onto it like some kind of a mutant, bacteria.
So speaking of that, I mean, is the genesis of this, that it mutated as you described to ESG? Is the genesis of this like Sarbanes-Oxley?
Basically, yes, in a strange way. We never really implemented Sarbanes-Oxley other than just lip service. But then they decided to staple these new proteins of, environmental and sustainability to what was essentially a corporate governance rule for accounting firms. Okay? That's how strange this is. So, ultimately, like you were describing beautifully, Dan, it took on a life of its own. And the false narrative, whether you talk about environmentalism or electric vehicles or whatever it is, now comes, pouring out of this ESG thing. And I think the only way we kill it is by getting a Republican majority in the Congress and in the White House and ignoring it, just legislate it out of existence.
Develop that a little bit more in terms of ESG, not the political piece of it, but I hear what you're saying, of course. But ESG, so for people that are still trying to grapple with its impact, it's BlackRock's doing great, and my position in BlackRock is doing great too. So what do I care about ESG? What is the impact on the economy and on the direction of our economy?
Well, the first impact, Dan, is a huge misallocation of resources. We should not be pursuing EVs with lithium batteries. That's a total waste of time. It's a retrograde technology that Edison and Ford discarded 100 years ago when Edison said, no, use gasoline. And batteries haven't changed. The motors are more efficient, the electronics are more efficient. And keep in mind, the whole efficiency of electric comes from the motors. So if I have to go out and use coal or some other unsustainable source to produce electricity to charge my batteries, then what have I accomplished?
Right.
There are a lot of internal combustion engines out there that are so efficient now that you might ask yourself, why are we using electric for these applications, especially trucks? I mean, you would never use a battery to move a truck around, but we do. Elon Musk built one just so he could show it to us. But we live in this aspirational age, the age of idiocy, I call it, where we see things we want to do, but the technology doesn't support it yet. We don't have sustainability in this country. We can't run the country on solar panels. We just don't have the technology yet. But the politicians have decided to kidnap the narrative and take us to this fantasy land, right? It's going to cost a lot of money. Wait till people are sitting in California in the summertime in the dark because they don't have enough load to keep the grid up.
Well, there's not enough charging stations. I mean, I recently traveled and there was people that were lined up to, charge their vehicle overnight while they slept, but they were out of luck because there was not enough.
Yeah, well, there's $360 billion in the Inflation Reduction Act to fix that. But the question is, what if there were enough charging stations? Is that a good outcome?
No, the cost would be prohibitive. And remember, you have to take care of them. It's not just building the charging station. You have to maintain it. You have to make sure it's working, that 220 line is not going to kill somebody, little trivial things like that, right? So we don't have nearly enough commitment in the U.S. or other nations to charge batteries on a large scale. And remember, when we had COVID and everybody's behavior pattern changed and they were working from home, a lot of states had to tell people, don't charge your car during the day because you're going to take the grid down. If you put too much load on the grid and it drops down below 50 cycles, it stops working. It's a binary thing, yes or no, right? So we have to accommodate that now. And you've seen both the telephone company and the electric company have to rebalance their resources in order to accommodate the fact that half the people are staying home and working.
Well, Chris Whalen, I have some good news for you on the energy front, and it came from Al Gore at the World Economic Forum yesterday. Take a listen to Al Gore address some of the concerns you're raising.
If you look at all the new electricity generation installed worldwide, 90% of it was renewable. It's now the cheapest source of electricity in almost the entire planet. Secondly, electric vehicles for the transportation sector. The penetration has reached the 10% level in multiple geographies. That's the point where you often see an inflection going much higher. Norway's already at 50%. All the automakers are going in that direction. Business is leading. Andrew and Mark, of course, are two wonderful examples. There are many others. And in the WEF this year, I have noticed a huge increase in the amount of passion and attention being paid by CEOs and other business leaders. It is for real. But as the Secretary General said in his brilliant speech earlier today, we are not winning. The crisis is still getting worse.
But we are coming together, the corporate world coming together with visionaries like Al Gore, and we're getting there. So you can, stop underwriting those coal mines now, Chris.
No. Look, we live in a strange time. It's very similar to the 1920s. I don't think people spend nearly enough time pondering the similarities in these two periods, both of which followed major events, World War I in the last century and COVID in this century. And people are confused, and they listen to people like Al Gore, and they think, he's hopeful. But the reality is that no, 10% utilization of EVs just means that we've misallocated enough resources to build enough cars with lithium batteries and sell them to credulous people who will have to replace those cars and those batteries at very, very substantial cost. I think it's a shame. Years from now, we're going to look back on this period, Dan, and just shake our heads and say, what in the world were we taking? What are they putting in the water, Dan? Maybe you can shed some light on that.
I don't know. Maybe not enough fluoride, too much fluoride. I'm not sure.
But if we had Henry Ford sitting here, he would be laughing at us. If we had Edison sitting here with us this morning, he would be laughing at us for our foolishness and our ignorance of science. And that's the problem with Al Gore. He's just a cheerleader.
Well, at best, he's a cheerleader. At worst, he's something much more nefarious. But here's the thing, too, since the topic is energy. I mean, this is what is in part, along with food, when the two are connected, of course, what is really putting a crimp in household budgets and expects to do so for some time, despite the inflation ticking down.
Well, you want to solve the Larry Fink problem and all these other big organizations. We need a Republican who takes antitrust to heart, not as a consumer issue, which, has cheapened it and belittled it, but as a political issue. When you have somebody with a company as big as BlackRock run by somebody like Larry Fink, you need to break it up. That's the answer. All of these large corporations that have gotten too big to govern and start to affect politics, right? That's the issue.
I suppose, sort of philosophically, I recoil at that. But the only other alternative, it seems to me, would be to vastly reduce the size and scope and expanse of government so that people like Larry Fink couldn't be so effective and build such empires through so much rent-seeking. But as long as there's all this government money sloshing around, there's going to be that a level of rent seeking that we see.
No, but listen, humans tend to move to aggregation. They don't like free markets. Humans like rigged markets. They like things like crypto, which is a rigged market, right? They're not interested in competition. So it takes force and it takes will to keep your markets diverse, to keep a large number of participants, And if somebody tries to aggregate them and consolidate them to the point where there is no competition effectively, then you break them up. You use the Sherman Act. It's a big hammer, but it's a good hammer.
But BlackRock is not without competition, for example.
No, but they're so big that they can affect markets. They're so big that they can destroy value for their clients and then just put them in another strategy next year and say, oops, I'm sorry. Because once Larry's got your money, the odds are he's going to keep it. You know what I mean? It's sticky.
Yeah.
It doesn't go anywhere. So these guys are no different than the trusts of a century ago. They just look different, but they have the same political power. And that's the thing that conservatives need to embrace. I think a libertarian conservative populist that's not run necessarily by a former real estate developer from New York could work if it was enlightened instead of being crazy. I'm a big TR fan. Teddy's still my favorite president. What can I say?
All right. You're going to resuscitate the Bull Moose Party, are you, out there?
Well, when you're in New York, we will go to Keen's Chop House, and I will show you the Bull Moose Room.
I would love that.
Places.
Very good.
It sounds like a date.
Yeah.
Maybe I could come along and
we
chaperone.
Go watch the Rangers. Yes. No, there we go. The only reason to go to New York City is to watch hockey.
Well,
as
long as we have our LGBTQ plus jerseys on
and our stick.
Please. Yeah. Hey, our mayor is becoming a conservative hero compared to the rest of this crowd.
Yeah, I hear there's no more room at the inn for migrants coming across the southern border in New York City, according to Eric Adams, right?
Listen, we should be taking people out of New York and resettling them into other communities where they can find decent housing. That's the reality.
Okay.
New York is like London in the 16th century. We need to redevelop lots of it. Just bulldoze it.
It smells
all those
the same
old
too. Yeah.
D office buildings on the east side. What are we going to do with them? Look at 3rd Avenue from the 30s up into the 60s. What are we going to do with all those buildings that are empty? Skate park. We could have the largest Westie training center.
Yeah,
little steeplechase for small dogs. What are we going to do with all this space that's underutilized? So on the one hand, we misallocate. Oh. No, but think about it. We misallocate resources to things that don't matter, and then we don't build decent housing for our citizens. What's that about? There's no way to make New York affordable. It's like Chicago. How do you make Chicago affordable with the political structure? You can't.
He is Christopher Whalen, investment banker, chairman of Whalen Global Advisors, author of Ford Men, From Inspiration to Enterprise, and editor for the Institutional Risk Analyst. Christopher Whalen, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Have a great day.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Why not Willie Wilson for mayor of Chicago? The criminals won't like Willie Wilson in the mayor's office. Fighting crime is Willie Wilson's first priority. The city isn't safe. The city streets, the CTA, are not safe. Willie Wilson knows that personally.
My son was murdered. I know the anger, and I know the pain.
Willie Wilson is ready to take on the criminals. Finally, Chicago, do it right. Willie Wilson for mayor.
All right, no one can predict what's going to happen in 2023 from the shaky economy, global unrest, rising inflation, all that fun stuff. But there is one thing you can count on, and that's the peace of mind Turnkey Solutions offers your business. Protect and prepare your company for 2023 with Turnkey's all-in IT support package. What is that? Well, it's their best and most popular plan for small businesses. It's all-inclusive and priced to save you thousands. Now, for limited time, Turnkey will pay for your first month of all-in support. That's the first month at no cost. Folks, it's worth up to $3,000. So, All-In is a no-worries program that includes all new hardware, advanced firewall protection, 24/7 US-based support, and backup of all devices on that cloud. Get more information and start your conversation today by visiting turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
Start your new year off right by finally losing that weight. Schedule your consultation with NJ Diet today. Their scientific approach will ensure you lose the fat quickly and safely. NJ Diet uses your hair and saliva samples along with their bioenergetic scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements that balance your hormones, where the side effect is weight loss. You'll shed a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days. Then NJ Diet uses DNA testing to help you keep it off. NJ Diet is all natural. No shots, no hormones, no surgery, and no prepackaged foods. Full supervision is provided every step of the way, and you even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. With locations in Skokie and Oak Brook, or from anywhere with live online video consultations, lose 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days, guaranteed. Call 855-5-NJ-DIET. That's 855-5-NJ-DIET, or schedule your consult today at njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com, and lose the weight for good.
Rick Borick, host of Unleash Your Wealth, talks about the importance of tax planning in retirement.
A qualified financial planner can take you through all the steps to show you every single legal way you can use to reduce and minimize your state income taxes across the board so that, again, you keep more of your money and your family keeps more of your money.
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and our new time at 2 p.m. here on AM 560, The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Tony Dreyfus, founder and president of Metropolis Coffee Company and a proud new customer of Signature Bank. We're a 19-year-old specialty coffee roaster located in the heart of Chicago. Some of your favorite restaurants and cafes serve our coffee. As a small business manufacturer, we understand the importance of working with the right bank, and that's why we made the move to Signature Bank. We were tired of the impersonal service that our large bank had provided. A friend referred us to Signature Bank, and their team was on site to understand our operations firsthand. They provided us the working capital to continue our successful business operations and to fuel our ambitions for innovation and growth. We now have the flexibility to grow at our own pace. That personal touch, you can't find that at a large bank, but we found it at Signature, and we can't thank them enough.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 7:35, more Al Gore from the World Economic Forum. You're going to want to hear what else he had to say. Al Gore. Steve Malloy, founder of junkscience.com, joins us to discuss 7:37.
And later at 8:38, you don't want to miss it, the man who repaired Hunter Biden's laptop joins us. But now into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
7:31, rain and fog, and we are up to 39 degrees this morning, and locally heavy dense fog is expected throughout the area. President Biden does not intend to negotiate any concessions to raise the nation's debt limit. Fox's Jared Halpern has more this morning from the White House.
With U.S. borrowing authority likely to max out in a matter of months, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says Congress must raise the debt limit without drama or delay.
It is essential for Congress to recognize that dealing with the debt ceiling is their constitutional responsibility. This is an easy one. This is something that should be happening without conditions.
House Republicans are demanding linking a debt limit increase to new caps on spending. The debt limit was reached today, but Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says the department is taking what's called extraordinary measures to prevent a default until early June. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Germany this morning facing mounting pressure to supply battle tanks to Ukraine, where President Volodymyr Zelensky is airing frustration about not obtaining enough weaponry from Western Europe. Germany's new defense minister welcomed U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin to Berlin today. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern is announcing her intentions to step down.
I am leaving because with such a privileged role comes responsibility. The responsibility to know when you are the right person to lead and also when you are not.
New Zealand will hold a general election in October. She's trailing in recent polls. Ardern became the youngest female head of government in the world upon election in 2017 at the age of 37. Amazon, it's ending its charity program, Amazon Smile. The company sent a letter out late yesterday to Smile customers saying the program has not grown to create the impact that the company had originally hoped after launching it in 2013. A man is in critical condition, stabbed outside a Chicago restaurant on the northwest side. Police say it happened last night in the 3200 block of North Pulaski Road. The Illinois State Rifle Association is suing over newly enacted assault weapons bans in the state. Governor J.B. Pritzker enacted the ban on certain semi-automatic rifles and magazines when he signed that law last week. Maxon Shooters Supplies and Displays owner Dan Eldridge says right now they're in compliance.
It's been a lot of work, pulling things off of the shelves, answering the phones.
He's put together a frequently asked questions list, a document that's now on his website.
There's an awful lot in this 111-page monstrosity that we're still scratching our heads over as we go through it in detail.
Eldridge is also a board member with the Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois, a group representing gun stores across the state. Prison and union officials say 18 employees of a central Illinois prison have been treated at hospitals after they became very sick responding to inmates also suffering severe discomfort. The Department of Corrections saying it happened at the Graham Correctional Center in Hillsborough Wednesday, but that the correctional officials are stable. Bulls and Pistons in the City of Light. They're in Paris for an afternoon contest today. Blackhawks take on Philadelphia tonight. College hoops last night. DePaul upset number 8 Xavier 73-72. Loyola lost to St. Louis. Bradley beat Indiana State. The news is a service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges, including exclusive contest opportunities. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher says we're jumping to conclusions again.
And right away, people were taking to social media, people are dying suddenly, don't get the vaccine. They immediately linked this cardiac event to a vaccine, the COVID vaccine, without one shred of evidence that was the case.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Did you know the most important election is coming up this spring? I'm talking about the April 4th, 2023 nonpartisan local school board elections. This is Shannon Adcock with Awake Illinois, a common-sense grassroots organization that's been boldly advocating for Illinois children and communities since 2021. The reason these school board elections are so important is because the majority of your tax dollars are funding a government system of schooling that is failing our kids. Good news is, this past weekend we had a phenomenally successful event with over 100 school board candidates and advocates who are ready to put kids and communities first. They were empowered on topics such as campaign strategies, curricula integrity, alternative education, and grassroots advocacy. A panel of former school board members answered questions and shared their wisdom. Additionally, we presented to educators how they can opt out of the wicked teacher union cabals and instead join an alternative organization that will give them improved liability insurance at a fraction of the cost while keeping politics out of the classroom. The recorded modules will be available for download to Awake Illinois members in the coming week. You're invited to our next event scheduled for Wednesday, February 8th in Des Plaines, titled Coalition for Kids, with a dynamically diverse panel of speakers. Defending children from indoctrination and sexual exploitation transcends race, sex, creed, and heritage. The panel includes Gays Against Groomers Jamie Mitchell, former Lieutenant Governor candidate Stephanie Trussell, and more. There is no doubt Awake Illinois is the only nonpartisan grassroots organization that is putting people before politics. Visit awakeil.com to learn about the amazing resources that are transforming Illinois communities for the better. Non-tax deductible donations can also be made at our website. And hey, we aren't shy. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. For Awake Illinois, I'm Shannon Adcock, and they cannot cancel us.
Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
7:37, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Inbound Edens, 26 minutes, Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy, right now, 48 minutes, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Big delays, Cumberland to Montrose. Ike on the inbound side. Accident, left lane blocked. It's on the outbound side between Laramie and Wolf Road, though inbound is at 55 minutes from Manheim into the old post office. Dan Ryan inbound, 30 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Right now, DuSable Lakeshore Drive jamming up right now on the northbound side. Bryn Mawr into Hollywood, southbound Hayes down to 57. Traffic, a service of Dan and Amy 24/7. Listen now, around the clock, all day, every day at danandamy247.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Cloudy, breezy. We'll have a shower this morning, turning to snow by the afternoon. We're about to hit our high today, and temperatures will tumble to 30 overnight. 39 right now. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We were talking with Chris Whalen about some of what Al Gore had to say at the World Economic Forum yesterday. Day 2 of this august meeting of the people who have assembled to save the planet for us, and I think from us, too. John Kerry making that note. Our Greens are on opening day. He's just tickled to be part of this group of superhumans who are going to save the planet. We played the clip of Gore prattling on, making some very dubious claims about where renewable energies are and where electric vehicles are going. And then after that, he went full Greta Thunberg and started chastising the world, really, using his platform to paint, his consistently apocalyptic viewpoint, no matter how many times it's been disproven, and challenging those of us who are recalcitrant to go back to pre-industrial revolution America to do better.
Up. All these promises of the last few years to cut emissions are still going up. When are we going to bring these emissions down? And just to put the science in a slightly different context, people are familiar with that thin blue line that the astronauts bring back in their pictures from space. That's the part of the atmosphere that has oxygen, the troposphere, and it's only 5 to 7 kilometers thick. That's what we're using as an open sewer. If you could drive a car straight up in the air at interstate highway speeds, you'd get to the top of that blue line in 5 minutes. And all the greenhouse gas pollution would be below you. We're still putting 162 million tons into it every single day. And the accumulated amount is now trapping as much extra heat as would be released by 600,000 Hiroshima-class atomic bombs exploding every single day on the Earth. That's what's boiling the oceans, creating these atmospheric rivers and the rain bombs, and sucking the moisture out of the land and creating the droughts and melting the ice and raising the sea level and causing these waves of climate refugees predicted to reach 1 billion in this century. Look at the xenophobia and political authoritarian trends that have come from just a few million refugees. What about 1 billion? We would lose our capacity for self-governance on this world. We have to act.
And then he went on to say this.
What do you mean, biblical? What he means is Old Testament, Mr. Mayor. Real wrath of God type stuff. Exactly. Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes.
The dead rising from the grave. Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
Steve Malloy, founder of JunkScience.com, member of President Trump's EPA transition team, and author of Scare Pollution, Why and How to Fix the EPA, joins us now. Steve, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Hey, Dan. Thanks for having me.
All right. What do we want? We want to save the troposphere. When do we want to do it? Right now.
Yeah, what I think is particularly funny past the boiling oceans is, his Al Gore's claim that global warming is like 600,000 Hiroshima-type atomic bombs going off every day. I figure since he's been, using that line, we've survived 1.3 billion Hiroshima bombings. but we're still here. So I don't know at what point he stops believing his own BS. You know, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration released year-end data for 2022 last week, and that data shows that over the past 8 years, the period when we have added 14% of all man-made CO2 to the atmosphere, there has been no global warming. In fact, there has been global cooling. And you know, you got to remember that the global warming con, as Al Gore will be happy to point out, is if you drive to work, you're warming the planet. If you have a cheeseburger, you're warming the planet. If you're using any electricity, you're warming the planet. But yet we've had 450 billion tons of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and no warming. So what does that mean?
Well, and there was some good news last week, and the mainstream media didn't pick up on it, that the United Nations report said that the ozone is slowly healing over Antarctica.
Yeah.
So why did nobody celebrate that? That's good stuff, huh?
Well, you know, so, you know, ozone depletion was the original atmospheric hoax. You know, I talked with Al Gore 15 years ago about this, and, you know, he admitted to me that, you know, the purpose of the Montreal Protocol, which was the treaty to ban all these refrigerants that were supposedly destroying the ozone layer, the purpose was to show that you could get a global environmental treaty. It was not to fix the ozone layer because the ozone layer was not having a problem. That was the original hoax.
Hey, is that a combustion engine I hear? Because that better be.
Yes, it is.
That better be disabled. If that's a combustion engine, what are you doing?
I think it's Al Gore.
Are you trying to create rain bombs, Steve Malloy?
Atmospheric rivers.
What about the rain bombs? And also, too, we've got a problem. We've got the World Bank is headed by a climate denier. This is more from Al Gore. Headed by a climate denier. So, you know, we don't have time for your blah, blah, blah to invoke the prescient words of Greta Thunberg, Steve. We've got the head of the World Bank's a climate denier. We've got Hiroshima atomic bombs going off. We've got rain bombs. We've got boiling oceans and so forth.
Yeah, you know, so the rain, you know, in California, they've gotten a lot of rain. It's like, what's that all about? Well, you know, from time to time that happens in California. You know, famously, California was flooded like this in December, January 1861. You know, that's way before coal plants, SUVs, and cheeseburgers. I don't think, you know, there's no natural disaster that can be tied with emissions. There's no trend in natural disasters that correlates with emissions. This whole thing is a giant hoax that has been made up so that, you know, John Kerry and Al Gore and his buddies at the World Economic Forum can rule the world. These guys have lied about everything. They've never been correct. It is astonishing to me that people still listen to them after all these years.
And, you know, the context of this at the World Economic Forum, too, is important because it's not just John Kerry and Al Gore, you know, a couple of political scavengers. It's all those who underwrite the Al Gores and the John Kerrys. So, yes, the statists, those in positions of power in Western governments, but then the combining of the government power with the corporate power. And this is why you pay attention to what's happening there, is because there's a lot of power being wielded, and it could be wielded on you, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, and it will be wielded on us. I mean, the left has, you know, one of the things I've been working on for 20, 30 years now is how the left has been, you know, attacking corporate America, and they have gone from attacking corporate America to taking over corporate America. So, you know, the left has completely infiltrated the financial sector, like BlackRock, Bank of America, Vanguard, all the big banks, all the financial institutions, and they're all pushing for this, you know, net zero by 2050. And you know, net zero by 2050, of course, net zero is impossible. Something that was just admitted recently by the electric utility industry, but that's not going to stop them from trying to get there. And trying to get there, they're going to destroy our standard of living. They're going to destroy our freedoms. And all that's going to happen is that they're going to increase their own, you know, power, prestige, and wealth at our expense.
Right. So COVID zero, net zero, all these absolutist positions, and then the cry. Al Gore talking about a mass refugee crisis and so forth. And that would engender authoritarianism. The mass refugee crisis in places like South America is because of dictatorships like Maduro's in Venezuela. I mean, it's just everything is, of course, reverse flowed when it comes to this discussion. And we have to get to something we can't get to, and we're gonna break a few eggs, if you know what I mean, in trying to get there, as we've seen pursued with zero COVID, slow the spread type policies over the last 3 years. Another target, though, was the NGOs, non-governmental organizations. Not a target by Davos, but a target that needs protection from those at Davos. Richard Edelman was one of those from, the Edelman huge PR operation. Was one of those who said, we need to stand our ground on ESG. We need to fight back against conservatives, Republicans that are raising the specter of issues with ESG. He said, you guys, talking about non-governmental organizations that are used by Gates and Soros and so many to advance their agenda. You guys are great at punching, but terrible at taking a punch. You have to learn two things. One is to preempt. When they're going to punch you, you got to know they're going to punch, and you say, why are they punching us? We call it pre-bunking. And the other is when they hit you and they're inaccurate, hit back, don't take it, right? Wonder, wow, profound advice from the PR maven Richard Edelman. What a clown show this is. But the that other piece of it, the NGOs, and how much money is funneled by these billionaire leftists through non-governmental organizations to do what corporate America or the government can't do. And we've seen this. And we've seen this. Just one more example. We've seen this at the border. It's actually Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, has raised the specter. These NGOs that are facilitating illegal migrants into this country, in contravention of immigration law. They're funded. These are the sorts of organizations that are funded by the sorts of people like Soros and Bill Gates, and they're serving an extra governmental function, which is actually to break the law. And they should be investigated, and this is their attempt to say, we need to protect these NGOs that are working around things like, the law.
Well, yeah, and I mean, the NGOs are, in fact, working with the cartels to, flood our borders for, what purpose? George Soros doesn't care if he destroys America. This whole problem with, activists taking over NGOs for, political purposes and corporations, one overlooked part of this is the media. I did a report last year highlighting the fact that the Associated Press, which is, like the oldest wire service, a venerated wire service, has been paid or is being paid millions of dollars by left-wing NGOs to report just one side of the climate debate. And then I think a couple weeks ago, Fox News reported that, it's also the Washington Post, and, a whole series of big newspapers across the country. And I mean, this is a concerted effort by the left, which, only exists to do this, to take over our world, and they'll use anything they can, COVID, climate, I mean, whatever it is, it's going to be gas stoves. Right. They just want to tell us how to live.
Final frontier.
So, Steve from junkscience.com, we're just learning this morning from our good friends over at WirePoints that there's legislation in the works to put 10 to 12 wind turbines in Lake Michigan. So the turbines, it's going to cost at least 5 times as much as putting them on land. But do they generate any energy whatsoever?
Well, yeah, I mean, they can generate electricity, but the point is, at what cost? I think it's very important. This has been completely missed by everybody in the media. Late last year, the electric utility industry issued a report saying that there's no combination of wind, solar, batteries, nuclear power, dams, electrification, or energy efficiency. There's no combination of that stuff that gets us to the, Al Gore goal of net zero. None. So I don't even know why we're going down this road, because windmills, solar, all these things just make electricity pointlessly more expensive. And when you take that and you apply that to like poor countries, that means they don't get electricity at all.
Steve Malloy, founder of junkscience.com, member of President Trump's EPA transition team, author of Scare Pollution, Why and How to Fix the EPA. Steve, thanks for joining us. As always, appreciate it.
All right, Dan, thanks.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Exercise more, lose 10 pounds. Tired of New Year's resolutions you can't keep? Here's one you can keep, saving more for retirement. If you're a small business owner, independent, professional, consultant, or self-employed individual, according to the IRS, you may be able to save up to $265,000 a year pre-tax. You may think, I already have a retirement plan. I can't put away that much each year for retirement. No, you can't. Not with a traditional retirement plan, but you can with a defined benefit plan. A defined benefit plan is IRS approved and a way for high-income earners to begin to catch up on their retirement savings pre-tax. We call it a retirement accelerator. Visit yourretirementaccelerator.com to download their guide to see if you might qualify. That's yourretirementaccelerator.com. This year, make a resolution you can keep. This advertisement is for informational purposes only and should not be relied on as financial advice. Any specific recommendations are provided only after understanding your entire financial situation.
Speaking of New Year's resolutions, have you resolved to have a better you in 2023? Eat well, exercise, get enough sleep, be a better you. Well, if you need help with the fruits and veggies, simply take Balance of Nature, because you have to admit you're not getting enough fruits and veggies on your own. Ask yourself, what have you eaten this week? Last night, did you have any fruit, any vegetables? If not, try Balance of Nature. 31 whole fruits and veggies in those capsules. Real food, real science, real nutrition. So get the nutrition your body needs and the body and nutrition that your body craves. People that I talk to that take it have increased energy. They want to get their health back. It's really important to have fruits and vegetables for good nutrition, as you know, is the foundation of all aspects of health. Here's what you do. Call this number, 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago, or go online to balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago.
Who are the leaders today who really walk in the footsteps of Abraham Lincoln? There are many worthwhile debates about the causes of the American Civil War, of course, but if you accept the fact that Lincoln helped the United States in the 1800s, and you sense our nation needs help today, you need to listen to The Ashes That Still Remain by Father Thomas Coyes, now available on Audible.com. You'll hear an in-depth comparison of the similarities between the Dred Scott decision and the Roe v. Wade decision. Since June of 2022 saw the overturning of Roe, it is more important than ever to learn the lessons of our past. The challenge of convincing those who can't imagine letting go of abortion rights reminds us of the tenacity of those who clung to their right to own slaves. Go to Audible.com and download your version of The Ashes That Still Remain.
The Ashes That Still Remain by Father Thomas Coyes, now available at Audible.com. The following is a paid political announcement.
Why not Willie Wilson for mayor of Chicago? The criminals won't like Willie Wilson in the mayor's office. Fighting crime is Willie Wilson's first priority. The city isn't safe. The city streets, the CTA, are not safe. Willie Wilson knows that personally.
My son was murdered. I know the anger, and I know the pain.
Willie Wilson is ready to take on the criminals. Finally, Chicago, do it right. Willie Wilson for mayor.
All right. It's the biggest bed sheet sale ever. Get the Giza Dream bed sheets for as low as $29.98. A set of pillowcases, $9.98. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep for you, which is crucial for our busy schedule. So trust me, these sheets are ridiculously comfy. I love them. Rejuvenate your bed with a MyPillow mattress topper for as low as $99.99. They also have blankets in a variety of sizes, colors, and styles. They even have blankets for your pets. Get those duvets, quilts, down comforters, body pillows. Find it all at MyPillow.com. 111 American-made items. And when you check out, be sure to use promo code Amy for deep discounts. That's MyPillow.com. Promo code Amy.
If you're self-employed and purchase your own health insurance, I have some great news. From now until January 15th, the health insurance exchanges are open again. And even if you've never qualified for a health insurance subsidy before, you most likely will now. The American Rescue Plan expanded subsidy eligibility to millions of Americans who have never qualified before, even to those with high income levels. And this year, you can purchase a multi-state PPO policy, which includes access to Northwestern Medical Group, as well as other teaching hospitals around the nation. Employers who provide small group coverage also have new options, and so do seniors looking for Medicare supplement coverage. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 25-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than 10 years. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551.
Inflation is nothing more than legalized theft. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and to preserve your wealth, I highly recommend keeping physical gold in your retirement account. To learn more, text the word SHELTER to 989898 to get a free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold, which is the only gold IRA company I trust. So text SHELTER to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I agree that we can agree to disagree. Does Noel Higdon agree? We'll ask him at 8:08.
But now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
A suspected robber shot by an off-duty police officer. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
A night of rage. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what a group of activists is calling for in Atlanta tomorrow night. And they want that rage targeted at police, urging people on Twitter to be violent, retaliating for a shooting yesterday.
That account claims to be a part of Defend the Atlanta Forest, one of the groups protesting the construction of a new police training center. On Wednesday, as police tried to clear an encampment near the site where the center will be built, police say officers located a man inside a tent in the woods who did not comply with their orders. They say the man opened fire on a Georgia State trooper who returned fire, killing the man.
That's Fox's Ted Linder. That trooper is in intensive care in a hospital after surgery. The U.S. hit our debt limit today, so we cannot borrow anymore. The Treasury Department says it's taking measures to keep funding government payments till June, but then there is a default risk.
We ought not be playing games with the full faith and credit of the United States of America.
Democratic Congressman James Clyburn and President Biden want Congress to raise that limit without strings attached. Republicans, like Congressman Wesley Hunt, say no. He tells Fox,
I have a 3-week-old boy at my house, I have a 4-year-old daughter, and a 2-year-old daughter. And I'm here to tell you that I am not going to pass this on to them. And at some point, we have to take a look at this and say, spending has got to stop.
President Biden will leave the White House shortly and travel to California to survey some of the damage done by recent storms that left at least 20 people dead in flooding and landslides.
Since December 30th, there have been 600 reported landslides statewide. Shallow ones can occur with a few inches of rain, but as the ground saturates deeper and deeper, large pieces of land can be on the move.
Brooks Jarros with Fox 2 TV in San Francisco. Fewer Americans needed new unemployment checks last week. First-time jobless claims fell to 190,000. That's a drop of 15,000 from the week before and a 4-month low. America's listening to Fox News.
Rain and fog, 39 degrees. At 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A man in critical condition stabbed outside of a restaurant on Chicago's northwest side. The victim arguing with another man who pulled a sharp object out and stabbed him last night in the 3200 block of North Pulaski. A suspected robber badly hurt, wounded by an off-duty Chicago police officer. The officer on the south side interrupted an apparent robbery yesterday in front of an apartment building in the 1300 block of West 90th. Chicago Teachers Union is accusing Mayor Lori Lightfoot of reneging on a pledge to extend paid parental leave up to 12 weeks for teachers and school support staff. The mayor responded by saying the policy has to be changed through collective bargaining.
It has to be done through the collective bargaining process. They need to get at the table. They need to bring the CPS people along and get it done.
Last fall, Lightfoot announced that all city employees would be receiving 12 weeks of paid parental leave beginning this month. A number of Cook County homeowners will be receiving automatic refunds soon. County Treasurer's Office says more than 53,000 property owners who overpaid their first installment taxes last year will automatically get back more than $47 million in refunds starting this week. Bulls take on the Pistons in Paris this afternoon. Number 23 Fighting Illini go for their 5th win in a row when they host Indiana tonight. The news service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Sean Thompson Show. 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Procter & Gamble stock is down in the pre-market after mixed quarterly results with fiscal second quarter profit that matched expectations, but volume which fell more than some analysts had forecast. What some see as another cost-cutting measure from Amazon. The e-retailer says it plans to shut down its charity donation program called Amazon Smile, where it donated a percentage of eligible purchases on the site to the shopper's chosen charity organization. The company saying the program hasn't grown to create the impact we had originally hoped. And Allstate is telling Wall Street to expect higher catastrophe losses on its balance sheet thanks to the severe winter storm that blanketed 2/3 of the U.S. back in December. Allstate estimates fourth quarter catastrophe losses of $779 million. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lillian Wu, invested in you.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a physician, and I still see patients every day. And, so I tell my patients about this. And they ask me, well, what are you taking? And so I tell them, taking Balance of Nature. And they go, oh, yeah, I've heard about that. So I tell them how to get it. I give them your telephone number, 246-8751. And I tell them, call this number. And I said, they'll take care of you after that. So, I'm primary care. I really think that it works well for people to have fruits and vegetables.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature right now. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com for more information or to place your order. Shipping is always free. And don't forget to get 35% off your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Right now, there's unprecedented demand for pre-owned vehicles. If you're working from home and have an extra vehicle, now is a great time to sell it. Call Joe Cotton Ford for top dollar on any make or model pre-owned vehicle. If you need a commercial vehicle, come in and we'll get your vehicle ordered for you. Our commercial team is ready when you are. Also, our commercial service center can handle trucks up to 52,000 pounds. Come see why we're Chicagoland's best Ford buying experience. For 48 years, we've been delivering the perfect vehicle for your taste, needs, and budget. Joe Cotton Ford has the no-stress, easy buying experience. The Daily Herald top pick 9 years in a row for sales and service. Family owned and operated for 3 generations. From our family to yours, you have our word on it. That's Joe Cotton Ford, Gary and North Avenue in Carroll Stream, or at joecottonford.com. joecottonford.com.
Top pick is voted by Daily Herald readers.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity.
What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
As a Walgreens pharmacist, I talk with people all the time about little tips and tricks for filling their Medicare prescriptions. Like taking advantage of Walgreens 90-day refills to save them a trip, or using Refill by Scan, which is super easy and right on your phone. And for anybody worried about prescription costs, I say, hey, we got you, with low-cost copays on many medications.
Let's talk about making things easier. Walgreens is here. Fill your way and save at walgreens.com/Medicare. See pharmacists for restrictions and exclusions.
8:09, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Let's get an update on the roads. Inbound Edens, 27. Lake Cook Road to the junction. Kennedy inbound, it's a full hour from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. An hour 10 on the inbound Ike from 390 to the old post office. Stevenson, an hour from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan inbound, 30 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A passing shower this morning, a rain or snow shower for the afternoon. Clouds and breezy, look for a high of 44. Snow shower this evening, otherwise cloudy and windy tonight, low 30. Clouds and breezy again tomorrow, the high at 33. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
39 at O'Hare. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Our moral, intellectual superiors gathering in the World Economic Forum kicked it off the other day. We talked about it yesterday with a disinformation panel on disinformation that ironically was offering a lot of examples of disinformation, although they weren't calling it that. Yeah, this was moderated by
Mr. Disinformation himself.
Well, a magic cue ball that used to work at CNN before even they could no longer stand him, apparently. But anyway, this is the more important part of it, with a fungible Democrat Socialist congressman as one of the panelists, was this discussion about the regulation of speech and the disturbing comments of the European Commission's Vice President for Transparency and Values. Good God. Václav Havel spinning in his grave listening to his countrymen say the things that she said, not to mention have the titles that she had. May want to peruse Power of the Powerless there, miss. Talking about how the hate speech laws in the European Commission has promulgated will soon be coming to America. And though I recoil at the notion, she may very well be right, because there's a lot of people in this country who now understand our First Amendment freedoms not to be as restraints on government, but as animating government to ensure those rights through content moderation, or as we have the government doing with Facebook and Twitter, now revealed, utilizing private entities to do privately what they couldn't do through state power, at least not legitimately, because of protections like the First Amendment. And so it's going to be, of course, I believe in people's right to free expression. Of course, I believe in free speech, except if it's hate speech. Who defines what hate speech is? I do. Right. And my friends at Twitter and Facebook and in government. Right.
Have you heard anybody on the left ever complaining about government intervention in big tech? No, they're just quiet about it.
No, their complaints are only in the direction of you're not intervening enough. The silencing is not comprehensive enough. We have a new list of 1,000 accounts that need to be banned. And, of course, then it's really easy to cherry pick examples that underscore the hypocrisy based on the standards even they're setting when you have, for example, the Ayatollah in charge in Iran, one of the leading state sponsors of terror in the world, so says our State Department. His account stays up at Twitter, and, Alex Berenson, a former New York Times reporter, his account has to go at Twitter. Hard to reconcile those. For more on this general topic of discussion, debate, content moderation, government suppression, pleased to be joined by Nolan Higdon. He's a University Lecturer of History and Media Studies at the University of California, Santa Cruz. The Banana Slugs.
Yes.
Co-author of Let's Agree to Disagree, a critical thinking guide to communication, conflict management, and critical media literacy. Nolan Higdon, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, and go Banana Slugs.
Yeah, all right. Very
Great
good.
T-shirts. Yeah.
Critical media literacy. We're hearing that phrase a lot, too, these days. Media literacy. And point of fact, you've got governors like Phil Murphy in New Jersey, like J.B. Pritzker in Illinois, pushing media literacy as part of the K-12 curriculum. What does media literacy mean in your mind? What does that term mean?
Well, you'll notice that I had the word critical in front of it, and it's to make a distinction between the media literacy I'm advocating for versus what passes for media literacy in other circles. So the critical approach wants to look at, the power dynamics, who's behind creating this media, what purpose does it serve, how can we use this media to better serve democracy and further social justice. Where a lot of the other media literacy is corporate media literacy. It's teaching you how to use and normalize digital corporate tools, how to depend on corporate platforms. And we're not advocating for that when we come from the critical perspective. We want to hold those corporations accountable and governments accountable when we analyze and use media.
So you would like to see more transparency in terms of the business model and even editorial process, or the analyzation, the analyzing of the power behind media. Develop that more for us.
Yeah, for sure. Rather than just appreciate the beauty or respect the writing style or the visuals in a media text, whether it be a video or news article or whatever. Look at the process of who created it. What decisions were made? What messages are they trying to send? What purposes do those things serve? Those are the critical questions to ask. And a moment ago, you were talking rightly about censorship. Well, critical media literacy is a better solution to issues of hate speech or disinformation, and it empowers individuals to make determinations about the veracity of information. It doesn't empower unaccountable actors in big tech or government officials to determine what's true and false for the people.
How important are the have the Twitter files, those disclosures, been in your view in terms of advancing this flag of critical media literacy and perhaps engendering more skepticism about a handful of individuals, particularly under the auspices of the state, being in the business of content moderation?
Well, it's kind of a mixed bag. I mean, on the one hand, those of us who had been reporting that this was going on, this has given us more evidence to demonstrate this censorship by proxy that is happening by big tech. I would like to see more of the files to illustrate how leftists have also been censored in digital spaces. I think there's been a dearth of that in the Twitter files. But as far as changing minds, unfortunately, we have such a fragmented media system that if you're attuned to these issues, you're reading the Twitter files and you're gaining more information. But if you're someone who is skeptical of the critiques of Twitter or you're skeptical of the journalists who are releasing them, there's plenty of media out there that are attacking the messenger. So someone like Matt Taibbi is being, derided all over legacy media, for much of the audience, that means that they're not even going to pay attention to the Twitter files because they assume if it's associated with Matt Taibbi, it must be bad. And I think that's a problem we have to overcome as these files are released.
Yeah, but I mean, it's ironic because most of the conduits for the release of these Twitter files are left or center left. I mean, Schellenberger has been a man of the left, an environmental activist his entire life, as he describes himself. Barry Weiss is sort of like maybe a soft Republican, but she's sort of swings on both sides of that center line. And then Taibbi, of course, who wrote a book deriding Trump for gosh, good. Boy. So I mean, it's almost like right. You attack the source because I don't want to have to confront the substance of what the source is saying, which is, of course, the same thing that's done by the D.C. press corps with respect to conservative news outlets writ large. It's all that conservative news outlets writ large are just tools of Donald Trump or conservative politicians or their repositories of hate. So that means I don't have to confront the views expressed or the reporting done on issues of K through 12 education or any other policy area.
Yeah, exactly. The nuanced explanation you just provided really doesn't exist in legacy media. If you are someone who is to the left of the Democratic Party, they just act like you either don't exist or you are a Republican. Just like if you're to the right of some of the Republicans in traditional legacy conservative media, they call you a rhino or act like you don't exist. So someone like Taibbi coming from the left to show the problems with censorship is in direct contradiction to what a lot of Democratic Party media has been saying. So as a result, he's labeled as a Republican, and the audiences are expected to dismiss the evidence he's providing in his reporting.
Well, what about where was the fire in the belly for the government and big tech colluding to shape public discourse, and Americans didn't really seem no one seems that upset about it.
Yeah, it's quite surprising. It might be poor indicator of what's to come. When I was sort of developing my political ideology during the Bush years as a young 20-something-year-old, we were trying to protect free speech from the conservatives who were using the war on terror and other mechanisms to silence people. And now, it's totally flipped. Now, a lot of the liberal United States has joined in that and thinking that censorship's okay sometimes or not that big of a problem. And I think it's really a bad sign of where your democracy is at is when we're debating how much censorship to have versus how to stop censorship from occurring.
Well, right. And to the extent we're debating it all, right? I mean, this has been afoot for a long time, which is why this piece that Harvard University history professor James Hankins wrote earlier this week grabbed my attention. The idea of Kevin McCarthy using his position as Speaker of the House to bring in experts from both perspectives on a public policy issue, the way Buckley did in Firing Line, to bring in whatever, pick your environmental person, Al Gore, John Kerry, or whoever you want, and put them up against Bjorn Lomborg or Patrick Moore and have them debate in the well of the House the issues of climate change and energy policy, and let the American people see them side by side discussing the issues on the merits. That happens almost nowhere today, and so the debates are siloed, and that's not much of a debate.
No, for sure. And contributing to the problem as well is I think that Americans have, a healthy skepticism of abuses of government, and that's what a lot of the Bill of Rights are aimed at. But the fact that they're using big tech or other entities to override people's rights has led to some confusion. But I think it's important for audiences to imagine if the federal government sent Twitter execs into your home and it, ignored your Fourth Amendment rights to illegal searches and seizures, you'd be outraged.
Right.
Similarly, you should be outraged when they're using Twitter or any other platform to override your First Amendment rights to protection of free speech. So I think we need to make that case that you can walk and chew gum at the same time. You can be skeptical of government and big tech.
Yeah, no, that for sure. I mean, that's a good comparison to make it concrete. I like that. But what about the the journalists, employees of the DC Press Corps outlets, for example, they position themselves not as journalists, even though they term themselves that. They position themselves as like a vanguard class for to preserve our democracy, what they call our democracy. It's actually a representative republic, but and everything is about they're protecting, and anyone who disagrees is a threat. That binary, and then they recoil at being called the enemy of the people. That binary doesn't engender much trust either, and so for all the talk about we need to get beyond our tribalism and so on and so forth, well, you're forcing everybody into a bucket. Either you agree with me and you're with me, or you don't and you're an insurrectionist, you're a threat to democracy.
Yeah, and this has proved really good for ratings for legacy cable media, and it's proved really good for subscribers for legacy newspapers have now gone digital, in that when you make audiences feel like they're the good guy and the other side is the quote-unquote bad guy, and you confirm the view of your audiences and deride the view of the bad guy, they'll keep subscribing, they'll keep tuning in. And they've made this dichotomy of, blue versus red to base that model on. And unfortunately, that's how a lot of audiences see the world. I mean, polls show that America's number one fear of other Americans, more than climate change, more than terrorism. It's really difficult to have a democracy when it's not that we disagree on policy or disagree on perspectives, but you getting elected will ruin my way of life. That's a whole different ballgame. And any sort of Democrat or representative republic really is going to struggle when the public has a hatred for each other versus just disagreements.
What's your perspective on state funding, taxpayer funding of news outlets? And I don't just mean NPR, but I do include NPR. But then when NPR does something like goes and buys the Sun-Times, the Chicago Sun-Times, is that good? Is that, or are these? I mean, in another country we'd call that state-run media.
Yeah, I'm an advocate for it. I think you should have multiple modes of finance, ways of financing media, public media, corporate media, independently funded media, subscriber-based media. The idea is that these news outlets will hold each other accountable by trying to scoop stories and find, sources to prove other reporting incorrect. But right now our news media is dominated by a handful of corporations, and there's really no accountability within the system. A moment ago, you were talking about these like elites or Brian Stelter and folks like this. Well, there's no accountability for these people when they screw up. I mean, Chris Cuomo, advocating for his brother on air and then gets a job at News Nation. Judith Miller leading us to the Iraq War gets a job at Fox News. Brian Stelter is teaching journalism at elite universities, which is just laughable.
Right.
There's no accountability, but the state funding argument, interestingly, this comes up in interviews I have with journalists, and they say, well, aren't you worried that state funding will, affect the reporting? And it's interesting to turn around and ask them, like, well, aren't you worried your corporate funding affects your reporting?
Yeah, right.
And usually you get silence on the other end of the line.
Okay. I mean, it's interesting point for a larger discussion on another time, but we do appreciate it. Nolan Higdon, University Lecturer of History and Media Studies at the University of California, Santa Cruz, the co-author of the book Let's Agree to Disagree, A Critical Thinking Guide to Communication, Conflict Management, and Critical Media Literacy. Let's Agree to Disagree is the book. Pick it up. Nolan Higdon, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
The bigger your 401k, the better your retirement, right? Wrong. The fact is, with proposed new taxes, another market crash, inflation, and rising healthcare costs, you could be forced to downsize your retirement. Discover the secret savvy investors are turning to for retirement security. A new 401k law that unlocks an ingenious retirement protection plan that could protect your savings from inflation and a stock market downturn while boosting your retirement income as much as 40%. It's all laid out in simple language in a new book from Josh Melberg. His insightful guide is your roadmap to retiring with with confidence, and it's yours free with one call. Don't risk a lifetime of work building your retirement. This little-known retirement protection plan could safeguard your wealth and boost your retirement up to 40%. For your free copy of Guarantee Your Retirement by Josh Melberg, call now. Call 800-337-8051. That's 800-337-8051. 800-337-8051.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century. With IoT Smart Connected Scan, it's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
Wow, Permaseal is giving you 10% off all their products and services now through January 31st. They want to help you protect your biggest investment and provide the peace of mind that comes with lifetime warranties and permanent solutions. It's in these uncertain times, they want to make it easy for you to have a warmer home, a dry, usable crawl space, and a stable foundation. Call 800-421-SEAL, 800-421-SEAL to schedule a free inspection. And this 10% off anniversary sale includes all of their services like structural repair, plumbing, sewer repair, electrical, insulation, crack repair, sump pumps, concrete raising, basement defender system, everything included. Permaseal is the oldest and most trusted family-owned waterproofing and foundation repair company in the Chicagoland area. For the past 44 years, 500,000 homeowners have trusted Permaseal, and so can you. 800-421-7325 or visit permaseal.net.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
8:38, the David and the David Goliath story against Biden Inc. John Paul McIsaac, the computer repair shop owner who changed the world. Hunter Biden's laptop was left there, and the hijinks ensued. We'll discuss his new book with him, American Injustice, My Battle to Expose the Truth, at 8:38.
But first, let's swing by that newsroom and get the latest from Mike Scott.
Rain and fog, 39 degrees at 8:30. The U.S. will reach its borrowing limit, setting up a showdown between the White House and House Republicans. South Carolina Democrat Congressman James Clyburn is calling for an end to what he called the political games.
We ought not be playing games with the full faith and credit of the United States of America. It's in law. We have to deal with it. Let's not be political about it. Let's have our debates over other things, but never on the credibility of this great country.
Clyburn on with Neil Cavuto yesterday. House Republicans want spending cuts in exchange for raising the debt ceiling. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern is announcing her intention to step down.
I am leaving because with such a privileged role comes responsibility. The responsibility to know when you are the right person to lead and also when you are not.
She is trailing in polls heading up to a general election in October. Ardern became the youngest female head of government in the world upon election in 2017 at the age of 37. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem says she will not rule out a 2024 presidential run, telling CBS she's not convinced, though, that she needs to run for president. She went on to say the presidential field is wide open and she will not rush a decision. A third Denver area public library is closed for a good cleaning after high levels of meth contamination were found in its restrooms. City of Littleton announcing the closure of the library yesterday. A man is in critical condition, stabbed outside of a restaurant on Chicago's northwest side. It happened last night in the 3200 block of North Pulaski. A man charged with false reporting of a crime and several other felonies following a shooting that left him and a 3-year-old boy wounded this past weekend on Chicago's south side. Michael Howard Owens appeared in court yesterday and ordered held. Owens was handling a gun Sunday when it discharged in the 6600 block of South Stewart Avenue, hitting him in the leg and a boy in the right foot. Chicago sports. The Bulls take on the Pistons in Paris this afternoon, while the Blackhawks take on the Flyers tonight. College hoops last night. DePaul upset number 8 Xavier. Loyola lost to St. Louis University. Bradley over Indiana State, and Illinois State lost to Northern Iowa. The news, a service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency. Go to surroundchicago.com today. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie 3, Charlie 6. 3, go ahead. 3, what's your position and status?
There's a great new award-winning book out, previously on the Amazon bestsellers list for 62 weeks in a row. It's called On Full Automatic, Surviving 13 Months in Vietnam. An amazing true story of survival by William V. Taylor Jr., a veteran awarded 3 Purple Hearts that made it out alive from one of the most active Marine combat units of the Vietnam War. For more than 50 years, Taylor held it all in, then poured his heart out to create an epic that critics are calling a classic in the genre. The stories are vivid and make you feel you're there. A book that defines the experience, similar to what Band of Brothers is to World War II. A great book for anyone interested in the psychology of the combat soldier. On Full Automatic, Surviving 13 Months in Vietnam by William V. Taylor Jr. Get it on Amazon or audiobook at audible.com.
Inflation is nothing more than legalized theft, because with every new round of money printing, the value of your 401k or IRA is decreased through the dilution of the money supply. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and while you can, I highly recommend you consider physical gold for your retirement account. Why? Because gold provides real wealth preservation that can withstand anything. Even better, with a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group, you pay no penalties or taxes when you transfer your current retirement funds. To learn more, text the word HEDGE to 989898. And my friends at Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold IRA company I trust, so text HEDGE to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
For an experience at the dentist that's more like going to a spa, meet Dr. Luma at North Shore Dental Group. Preventative and cosmetic dentistry for the entire family.
Hi, I'm Dr. Luma. I welcome you to come to North Shore Dental Group and let us show you what it's like to enjoy going to the dentist. You'll be greeted at reception by our friendly staff and will be comfortable not only in our waiting rooms, but in our luxurious and comfortable private rooms. We use all state-of-the-art equipment, and you can enjoy TV while we're working and just relax. We use laser dentistry when needed for less pain. You'll have a faster recovery time and quicker healing. We welcome you to have an amazing experience at the dentist.
Dr. Luma is accepting new patients now, and for a limited time, new patient exams with full mouth x-rays are only $59.99. Call 847-292-8200 or Google Dr. Luma. That's L-U-M-A. North Shore Dental Group. A lifetime of healthy smiles.
Hi, it's Amy, and MyPillow is excited to bring you their biggest bedding sale ever. Get the Giza Dream bed sheets for as low as $29.98. A set of pillowcases for only $9.98. Folks, they look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep for me, which is crucial for my busy schedule. So trust me, these sheets are ridiculously comfy. Rejuvenate your bed with a MyPillow mattress topper for as low as $99.99. They also have blankets in a variety of sizes, colors, and styles. They even have blankets for your pets. Get duvets, quilts, down comforters, body pillows, bolster pillows, and so much more, all with the biggest discounts ever. MyPillow is also extending their money-back guarantee until March. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. Use promo code Amy, and you'll get huge discounts on all MyPillow bedding products, including those amazing Giza Dream bed sheets for as low as $29.98 while quantities last. And don't forget to use promo code Amy for the best possible discounts available.
8:38. Let's get an update on the roads now. Team Hochberg Traffic Center Time is a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Listen to AM 560 on your smartphone or mobile device, or text the word app to 64636. Inbound Edens, 26 minutes. Lake Cook Road into the junction. Kennedy inbound, it's an hour 6 from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Ike inbound, right now 70 minutes, 390 into the old post office. Stevenson just under an hour from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Lakeshore Drive itself jammed up on the northbound side between Roosevelt and Jackson. Also, DuSable Lakeshore Drive northbound, construction bottling up 2 right lanes over Montrose. We're watching the Tri-State with a vehicle fire, left lane blocked, northbound 294 at 159. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Cloudy and breezy. Shower this morning. Will top out at 44 and will tumble to a low of 30 overnight. Right now, 39. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Well, in the Biden family, the apple doesn't far fall from the tree. You can see why Hunter Biden was so reckless with his laptops after you see the way that Mr. 10%, the big guy, Joe Biden, handles classified documents, right?
Oh, that's right.
Well, the man who changed the story on Biden Inc., really, is John Paul McIsaac. He is the repair shop owner who Hunter Biden went to, randomly, to fix his laptops after. And yes, there were multiple laptops. Fix his laptops after they were had suffered some liquid damage.
I don't even want to know about that.
Neither do I.
Please. Let's move on.
Wait till you hear what his password is.
Oh, my gosh.
John Paul McIsaac has got a new book out, American Injustice, My Battle to Expose the Truth. John Paul McIsaac, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning. By the way, there are some excerpts from John Paul's book being published in the New York Times. But, let's go. Buy the book. Buy the guy's book, too. You can read the experts, but buy the guy's book. All right, John Paul. So let's start at the beginning. You're trying to close up, and in walks Hunter Biden.
Yep. That was April 12th of 2019. It was a Friday night. I was very excited to get out of the shop. Unfortunately, when Hunter showed up with 3 liquid damaged laptops, I knew my evening was going to change. I didn't know my whole life was going to change.
Did you know it was him? I mean, did you recognize him?
I'm visually impaired, so at first I didn't know who he was because I never really paid attention to what the Biden offspring looked like. So when he came in, standard customer check-in procedure is when I found out who he was, when I asked for his first name and last name. I also kind of put everything together when one of the laptops had a Beau Biden sticker on it. So but back then, his dad wasn't running for president. It was like 2 weeks before his dad announced. So this was just some drunk kid who was trying to get memories off of what I assumed was his deceased brother's laptops.
Wait, do you smell alcohol on his breath?
He was drunk, yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
Maybe he spilled some beer on it.
No, the crack makes you thirsty. So then you, so 3 laptops, and how many were salvageable?
One was a complete write-off. Again, I felt bad for Hunter, so I gave him a keyboard so he could facilitate his own backup of the second laptop. The third one was the one that I had to check in. that I recovered the data from, and he failed to pay for it, failed to pick up, and then that's the one I eventually gave to the FBI.
What was the password on that one?
I don't know. Is this a family-oriented show?
It is, yeah. You can't say it.
Oh, what? No, you text me what the password was.
It's anal sex 969, but it's not sex.
Oh.
A euphemism for sex, right?
I knew this was going to get gross the more I checked them in.
Yeah.
Well,
but that was his password, right?
Yeah.
Anal sex 69. And once you got into that laptop, what did you happen upon?
Well, during the data, if a data recovery process is fully automated, I would not even see what's on the data. I would just let the software go and do its forensic clone and be done with it. Unfortunately, because this is liquid damage, I had to manually drag and drop folders and files because the computer kept shutting down. And during that process of manually copying data and verifying what was copied, that's when I realized that this was not Bo's computer, this was Hunter's. And the guy that was in my shop that previous night was also the guy that was starring in a lot of the homemade porn. So it was gross, but again, I didn't see a national security threat there. I saw a lot of money exchanging hands, but again, this guy's dad wasn't running for president. So I did the job. I called him, told him to come pick it up. He never came and picked it up, never paid for it. And then after his dad announced his candidacy and things progressed, I realized I was sitting on a time bomb. And someday somebody's going to find that piece of paper in Hunter's possession saying that I was allowed to do what I did. And somebody's going to come looking for that laptop and come looking for me.
So did you call the FBI then?
I called the FBI after it became my property. Actually, I sent my father out because I was worried about good old boy politics. I only live about 10 miles from Joe's house. So I sent my father, who's a retired colonel in the Air Force, to reach out to the FBI in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where they live, to alert them to the existence of the laptop and to provide me with some form of security or safety should somebody come looking for it.
But wait, let's rewind a second, though. By the way, I love the quip in there. Once you come upon a file, as you're transferring the files, you're recovering the files, that indicates his taxable income for the last several taxable years. You're like, and it's, in the millions of dollars. You're like, and this guy can't afford a backup drive? Great. I love that. Very commonsensical. But what was it that you saw that you said, this is going to be a problem. The people are going to come looking for me to get it because, the porn, the home porn video is not a good look, but that's not a national security issue. So what did you see that prompted you to take the next steps and get your dad involved and get the FBI contacted?
Well, initially I saw a document during the data transfer that was titled income. And when I inspected the document, one line kind of stuck out. It was from his accountant basically saying, well, Hunter, you can't live off of $550,000 a year, so we're going to have to borrow, quotes, money from this other business that he had set up. And it just looked really shady. And I remember seeing Burisma mentioned several times in that document. And later in the summer, as Burisma started to show up in the news cycles, and this was the summer of 2019, I did a deep dive in the laptop. And then that's when I saw this blatant pay-for-play scheme running out of the office of the vice president. And the members in this pay-for-play scheme included our current adversaries, China, Russia. The war in Ukraine feels like deja vu because the same players are involved, and we're sending billions of dollars into Ukraine again.
Was there anything directly linking to President Biden?
Yeah. The one email, especially what I call the Burisma grift, was the email between Hunter and Devin that was basically outlining their entire strategy for how to capitalize off of all this money that's being poured into Ukraine during the first Ukraine-Russia war. And, Hunter was describing, he can't control his father's actions or what he's going to say, but we're going to market him as value added so we can show Burisma what we bring to the table. And it was, and then the next day, Devin went to the White House and had a sit down with Joe. So
you're talking about Devin Archer, a business partner of Hunter Biden's, who then subsequently was sentenced to a year and a day in prison.
Yep, that guy.
Mm-hmm. And so yeah, this is important. So you get the laptops, you fix the laptops. You call them to come pick it up. So that's in April. And then you're saying you don't go back and look at the laptop that had all the documents you recovered, files you recovered, until months later when you remember seeing like a keyword here, a keyword there, and now there's news reports about this. And so that's when you went back to really look around in with more detail.
Yeah, about mid-July when it became my property, I did that deep dive. It didn't take me long. It only took me a couple of weeks to realize that this is something that needed to be handed over to the authorities immediately, not just for my safety, but for the safety of the nation. And then in August, actually it was October 9th, my father approached the FBI in Albuquerque. And during this time, the impeachment hearings had begun. So now there was like an added layer of urgency because what I had seen on this laptop definitely would have exonerated the president of any impeachment trial. So it was now an effort to give me protection, find some way to save my skin if somebody comes after me, get this criminality to the authorities, and then let's try to prevent the national embarrassment of an impeachment. So
did you talk about it with like any of your friends or fellow business, local business people in town? I mean, there had to be scuttlebutt about the Bidens going back, generations. Was he a topic of conversation at all?
I really did not want to talk about anything that had to do with the Bidens while that thing was in my possession. I live in Biden territory, and I was completely aware that if word got out of what I was trying to do, just trying to get criminality to the authorities, I would be run out of town on a pitchfork. So, and which is actually what happened. So it's kind of all my efforts for self-preservation kind of failed in the end.
There's been a lot of scuttlebutt about him with younger girls. We're not talking age appropriate. We're talking about minors. Did you see any of that on his laptop, or is that just a rumor? Or do you not know?
I don't typically like talking about the contents of the laptop, especially when there's innocent people involved. I will say that the levels that have been reported by several individuals to the tune of 80 gigs or 80,000 images of CP, that's a complete lie. There have been multiple attempts for individuals to insert fake data into this laptop to discredit the laptop. And unfortunately, a lot of people have bought into this idea that there is this tremendous amount of evil on this laptop. There's enough evil on the laptop. We don't need to make up any additional evil. As far as underage children, there's only the relationship with the niece that I saw that was incredibly inappropriate. What
were they doing? Or do we have to find that out in your book?
I don't want to, again, talk about it.
Okay.
Your dad goes to the FBI, and what happens?
The FBI, he says, here's the situation. My son's, he has fears for his son's life, and the FBI says, this sounds like a civil issue. Questioned the legality of the possession of the laptop and said, lawyer up and get out of our office. So it was, my father described it as the most humiliating experience of his life.
Really? And that's when you reached out to Trump's counsel?
No, not yet. My father and I were just kind of figuring out what we were going to do for about a month, and that's when an agent Joshua reached out to my father in an effort to get a hold of me. We agreed, and in mid-November, 2 agents came to my house in Wilmington, Delaware. They listened to my concerns. They once again refused to touch the laptop with a 10-foot pole. Then they came to my shop on December 9th with a subpoena, and they wanted everything. They wanted the paperwork, they wanted the drive, the backup, and the laptop. So I was happy to give it to them. Unfortunately, at the end of that interaction, that's when the one agent told me, after I kind of made a joke, said, "Hey, lads, I'll leave your names out of the book." And that's when Agent Mike turned around and told me that, in his experience, nothing ever happens to people that don't talk about these things.
Wow.
Okay, so now the FBI's got it, and then what happened?
Mm-hmm. Well, I was waiting patiently during the entire impeachment trial for this laptop to materialize for the White House's defense. And at the end of the impeachment trial, I realized that the FBI cared more about protecting the Bidens than they did about ever providing me any protection or acting on the criminality on the laptop. And my biggest fear was now I had a large federal agency that knew I was sitting on this laptop and knew what I knew. And they were obviously running interference for the Bidens. So that's when I sent my father and my uncle, who was also a retired colonel in the Air Force, to reach out to members of Congress. Because keep in mind, at this time, I was convinced that I could keep my identity a secret. I could do the right thing and not get caught doing the right thing. So sent my father and uncle off. They made multiple attempts over 2020, spring of 2020, to reach out to members of Congress. Unfortunately, there was this thing called a global pandemic going on, and I think Congress was so paranoid of being wrapped up in Russia disinformation or whatever that they were, our cries for help fell on deaf ears. And it wasn't until mid-August of 2020 that I decided to trade my fear for courage and reach out to Rudy Giuliani. Because, well, he was a lawyer for the President of the United States, and I tried the Justice Department, I tried Congress, so I figured the executive branch was our next place I had to alert.
And you mentioned, just to fast forward, because we know a lot of the rest of the story has now been made public, but that backstory and the timeline is really important. You mentioned that, if people knew, you would have been run out of town on a rail, and that happened anyway. By the way, I also love the characterization. I was trying to get away with doing the right thing. What a commentary that is on where we are, getting away with doing the right thing. And I know what you mean, but it's just a funny way to say it. So what happened to you in town? Where do you stand now?
Well, October 14th, the New York Post broke the story. About 30 minutes later, I started getting death threats. I was able to keep my business open for probably about 3 weeks before it just got so kind of hairy that I had to get out of there. I closed up my shop, and then I was on a plane out to Colorado, where I pretty much stayed in hiding for about a year.
Oh, my God. And where are you now? Are you still, or do you not want to say?
Undisclosed location.
Undisclosed location. Well, do you feel safe, or do you feel like you're still being spied on?
Oh, I am definitely keeping my head on a swivel. No, I tried to go up against Twitter in a lawsuit last year. I was defeated and punished by Twitter. The lawsuit was thrown out, and Twitter was awarded all the legal fees with the Florida slap statute. And that maneuver was designed to just completely destroy me financially and make me take away my ability to defend my actions or hold those accountable in a court of law. So fearing bankruptcy, I had to move back to Delaware because if you don't occupy my home, I can lose it. So I've been hiding in Delaware now for about a year and just kind of keeping my head down. I don't go out of the house too much. I live 10 miles from Joe's house, and I got publications like the Washington Post putting out a hit call on Bob Alinsky and myself, saying that we're key witnesses to this in the congressional investigation. So yeah, no, I don't leave the house right now at all. So it's
not leaving the house. That's tough.
That's no way to live.
But were you political at all before this happened? I mean, do you have were you involved in any way, or do you have perspective?
No, politics weren't really the things that gravitated me towards other people. I'm a creative person in my background. I like fixing Macs because I like helping people. And I love being a part of my community. And luckily, politics really never played into any of that. And so I grew up conservative. I have conservative values. I have a lot of liberal values. I think the term we used to use back in the day, which you're not allowed, you have to pick a side now, is fiscally conservative, socially liberal. But
yeah.
Again, now you got to pick a side.
So, but I mean, there's no animosity towards the Biden family. Was there any thinking about the Biden family? Obviously, they're the part of the landscape where you are in Delaware, but otherwise, no interaction, no interest, no animosity.
Well, the fact that Hunter decided to go on national television saying that he didn't know that it was his laptop, it could be Russian, it could be stolen, definitely didn't help my case. So I guess that's why I've included Hunter on my latest lawsuit, as well as the campaign to elect Joe Biden.
Good for you.
Well, I know. So that's after everything happened. But prior to Hunter Biden walking in that fateful day, there was no interaction, right?
I really, it was so low on my care level, I would have sat on it by accident.
Mm-hmm. John Paul McIsaac, the computer repair shop owner in Delaware, who, as you just heard the story, came upon Hunter Biden's laptop. His new book, American Injustice, My Battle to Expose the Truth. American Injustice, My Battle to Expose the Truth. John Paul McIsaac, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it. Good luck to you.
Thanks for having the show, and have a great week.
Thanks, you too, and I'm definitely going to buy the book. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Willie Wilson for mayor of Chicago. The violence in Chicago must stop. Willie Wilson pledges real action to do that. A revised police structure, 4 superintendents, more accessible to their neighborhoods, providing faster communication and concentration of resources. Willie Wilson pledges more integrated police patrols to increase community, confidence, and cooperation. Willie Wilson's pledge will make Chicago safer. Finally, Chicago, do it right. Willie Wilson for mayor.
All right, I'm just doing it right now. Drinking my Balance of Nature. I love it. I crack my 6 capsules over into warm water. My mom puts hers in her applesauce. She says that makes her sound old, but she's not old. She's a young 80. And why do people take it? They want more energy. They want the ability to keep doing the things that they love even as they age. And again, that's where Balance of Nature comes in. So many people from 30-year-olds to 80-year-olds tell me how much they love Balance of Nature. So it's real food, real science, real nutrition. Get the nutrition your body needs, because you have to admit you're not eating enough fruits and veggies on your own. 800-246-8751, 800-246-8751, discount code Chicago. All right.
AM 560. The Answer.
That was a great. Dan, are you going to read the book?
Yeah. Check it out. I mean, we got the story, but I don't know. Some of the excerpts in the New York Post pretty colorful, so it's intrigued me.
All right. Thanks so much for making us part of your morning. Thanks to George Hoffman, who's in for Justin Kosick, and Quinn McCarthy. Today, rain, no sunshine, and snow later. It is now 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Going to California. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Biden's headed there this morning along with the head of FEMA, visiting a state battered by recent deadly storms.
President Biden travels to counties including